Good afternoon and welcome to the iconic Manly 16-foot skiff club as we kick off the Port Jackson Championship for 2025. A true highlight of the skiff racing calendar and a spectacle set against the stunning backdrop of Sydney Harbour. It's brilliant to be back for what promises to be another thrilling season of fast-paced action and fierce rivalries. I'm Jimmy Bury, and whether you're watching from the club, catching the stream from the comfort of home, or tuning in from halfway across the world, thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to bring you all the live action again this season. Joining me in commentary today are two absolute legends of the sport, sailing royalty in fact, Olympic medalist, female America's Cup star, and Sail GP commentator Lisa Darmanin, and skiff legend and multiple national, state and club champion Clint Bowen. Fantastic to have both of you on board. What can we expect from today's showdown?
Well, today I think we can expect the skiffs to dominate the harbour. We've got 65 16s and 24 13s ready to battle out. It's a nice light south-easterly around the harbour, so it's going to be a tough race out here, but it's going to be spectacular sailing. The cloud has burned off, but the start boat has just hightailed it out to the head, so we think we have a little bit of a late start change, but Clint, it's going to be a tough race around the harbour in this direction.
I think so, yeah. Look, and we probably need to say that this race has been around since sort of 1950, and it's pretty iconic in Sydney Harbour. It's probably one of the most iconic, as is the skiffs, which is an iconic boat on Sydney Harbour. I do think that going around the harbour presents its own challenges. These guys will not be used to that. They will not be used to sailing in the Sound and also down into the main harbour. So I think what we will see there is guys have to get really lateral, guys and girls getting really lateral about where they sail, how they sail, and keep their eyes out of the boat.
Yeah, definitely. I think when we have the normal courses that you're used to racing every weekend, you sort of learn the patterns, you learn the intricacies of your own race course. But as you navigate different headlands around the harbour, especially when the breeze has a little bit of east in it, it is always challenging. So I think it's not going to be over till it's over on a day like today.
Absolutely not. So while we're waiting, why don't we do a little bit of I don't know if everyone knows Lisa, but she's obviously a rock star, having done Sail GP and commentated on Sail GP for the last 5 years. Lisa, what we really want to know is, when they cross to you and they ask you where is everyone going and where should they go, how much of that do you actually think you've got right, or are you guessing?
Well, sometimes it's really easy to pick where I think they should go, and sometimes, just as if I was racing, I'd say I go out to the left, but I think I get it right about 50% of the time. Well,
I think you probably do get it right 50% of the time. I actually go, I'm going to pick it before Lisa, and I generally get it right about 30% of the time.
Well, the hard thing is, so when I'm sailing myself, you've got the feel, if you're on your knock, you've got your compass and things like that, but on a camera boat, I don't have, all of those things, so it's actually harder to pick a ship from the camera boat, I'd say.
I could imagine. It looks difficult, and I think, talking about the Sail GP, it's got really, really close. There's lots more boats now. The organisers have actually brought the racing much closer, and I think at the start, did you feel that when it first began, it was the people and the crews that could keep the boats upright and going fast, and tactics were less part of it, whereas now it feels like the tactics have really come into play?
Yeah, definitely. The boat handling across the fleet has definitely elevated, and it is all about the racing now. If you make a mistake, you can lose 8 boats in an instant. So there's nowhere to hide now. Obviously, the boats are one design, and the racing is just spectacular. So it's awesome to be a part of, but it's also great to be back here where it all began for me at the 16s, and I'm really excited to see what we have in store today.
Now, speaking of Sail GP and also one of our skiffs, so just panning to the left there, red pumps. I've heard word that there's actually a Sail GP sailor on red pumps red. Is that right?
Yeah, so for those that aren't aware, we're leading up to a final in Abu Dhabi for Sail GP, and Tom Slingsby wanted a little bit of extra training, so he's jumped on red pumps red on the sheet, I believe, for a little bit of extra racing practice. So awesome to see slingers down here. Obviously a gold medalist, Sail GP champion. We've actually got 4 Olympic gold medalists in the fleet today with Tom Burden, Malcolm Page and Nathan Wilmot. So good calibre out here racing amongst obviously national champions, club champions, and everyone out here to the sound for the start, and that's because the breeze has gone a little bit more east than we originally anticipated. So the course on the screen, you can see they've got the turning mark number 1, which is about in the middle of the sound. Then they'll do a right turn into Sour Pigs, make sure they don't hit the reef, and take it all the way down to Shark Island. After they take Shark Island to starboard, they'll head to Carrabba Point, right near the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Port turn there, and then back to another mark just south of Shark Island before they make their way back up into the sound for a port hand turn down into Balmoral, turn back up into the sound, and then finish right in front of the club back in Manly Cove. Pretty tough course. And then the 13s, of course, they aren't going to go as far as the 16s, so pretty much the same. So they'll head down the harbour, around Shark Island, up into Kirribilli, and then instead of going back into Balmoral, they'll make their way straight back into Manly. So a little bit shorter for them, a little bit less to deal with. But I think when they get up into the inner harbour, that's where it's going to be pretty tricky.
So you think the inner harbour today is where there's ground to be made?
Definitely. I think that Shark Island point depends how south it is, but when it's east there, it's just so difficult to navigate. I think the cool thing as well, whether right now it's a beautiful breeze around 8 to 12 knots, but I think whether you carry the spinnaker or not at certain points around the course, depending on what direction, but tucked under Shark Island there, I think it can get pretty funky in these conditions.
Absolutely. And the marathon, there's one person on the boat that normally curses the skipper when they get it wrong, and that is the forward hand.
Always the forward hand, Bo.
Always the forward hand.
But but you're right. That area, Lisa, between Shark Island and Point Piper, it's well known in the easterly as the doldrums. So.
I think one of the things with that is obviously it's beautiful to be out in front. That's what you want. But in these tricky conditions, obviously you want to be able to use your eyes to pick where the breeze is. But sometimes, other boats can be your best indicator. So if someone gets stuck in the doldrums in front of you, can you go around the outside and overtake? So I think it's pretty good. The breeze is probably better than I expected. I think it'll be a pretty nice start. There's a really light swell, nothing major, and the breeze seems to be holding quite nicely. So the race is set to get underway in just over 10 minutes' time.
So let's maybe talk about this 10 minutes that's about to happen. What are these boats doing right now, just for the people at home?
Well, I guess what they were doing is they were checking sort of that first little leg inside Manly Cove, but the start's just moved out. We're just off Grotto Point here. So what they'll be doing is they'll be obviously want to get the first leg right. So they'll be checking the start line. The start line's just being laid at the moment, tuning up the boat as well. You want to make sure that you got the right gears, you got the right mode, and also working out exactly those nuances with the breeze, how shifty it is, how much it's oscillating, is one side of the course paying more than others. I think right now, knowing this sort of open course that's coming straight through the heads I think one side is probably going to pay more than the other, but it has been changing over the last couple of minutes, and with 10 minutes to go it could still sort of develop a little bit more.
And the tide's about neutral at the moment, so do you see that playing any role?
I think right now we're not going to have any tide effect just for the start, but as we get throughout the day, as they make their way around the course, we could see the tide coming in towards the end of the day and playing a bit of snakes and ladders maybe at the end of the race. But right now, Clint, where would you be going if you were kicking off this start? 30% of the time you're
Can I
going to get
just
it right.
ring Dolly and ask him?
Right now, I mean...
Look, I'm always a fan of the East. I think that often they get a bit caught up if they go south too early, and I feel like you get a much cleaner run out of the East. The other thing is it gets a bit tied up there around Sow Pigs. So giving yourself enough room where you're not fighting in a big pack, especially having 60-odd boats, give yourself clear room to run and let the boat do its work.
I think that's the one thing with the 16s. I mean, with every boat, but personally, I just found at the 16s, and you're a legend at this, Clint, is getting the boat dialed in. Obviously, everyone's doing their sort of runs at the moment and trying to work out how to get into that lock-in mode, as I like to call it, as soon as possible. When you have this small little swell, it's pretty light. It's not probably full swing out here right now.
No, and you're spot on, Lisa. It's about getting the boat where you need it and all the training that have set all your marks. So you already really know when you come out here, okay, the shrouds are set at a certain, weight. You've got your jib set up exactly where you want it, your centerboard's exactly where you want it, and then you're only making small refinements around that.
One thing that is obviously we've got an awesome fleet turning up every weekend across the skiff clubs, but also with this many boats on the race course, there's going to be a lot of disturbed air. And just where we are right now, there's skiffs there just a couple of metres apart in every single direction. So it's looking pretty crowded, and getting clean off the start is going to be a tough one.
It's going to be critical. While we're here, actually, I just saw Bosca Build go on our port there, and we've got Shade to Water, actually, 2 top boats. I think it's Shade to Water is probably the top boat in Belmont at the moment.
And Bosco won the Port Jackson Championship last year.
They did, and with Sarah Lee on board. So, and probably we should talk about that as being there's been such a big influx of female sailors, and they are absolutely killing it.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I think we have about 17 or 18 boats with females on the boat, which is amazing to see, and that's growing every year. And then the 13s is almost 50-50. But, Sarah obviously winning the national championships in 2023 and continuing. So that full team is here racing today. So, yeah, it's awesome to see how well she's been doing. And, obviously we have a lot of female skippers, but also across sheet and bow as well.
Absolutely. And I suppose in our junior class, the 13-foot skiffs, we're seeing a lot of females joining those ranks. I think the 13s have been a great boat for that. It's not as heavily dominant, I suppose, on sort of the physicality of it, even though the females are well and truly able to. But it just, in history, has always been men have done it. So to see this change and the opportunities that have been created, I think it's wonderful for the sport.
Oh, it's magnificent. And I think the thing is, especially with women in sailing, it's obviously so hard when you're sort of 16 years of age and all your friends are going shopping and you want to just go sailing to have an awesome boat like the 13 that you can rip around on, but also the community where there's other girls and women sailing, and it's such a social, fun activity as well. And the other thing that I noticed just at the club earlier is just the age demographic is also a lot lower than the 13s. They're sort of 16 to 18 years of age, which is awesome that's what they want to do on their weekend is come down here and hang out and sail the skiffs. So awesome to see that fleet growing. I think this is the biggest 13 fleet we've seen in a while. And I also heard Belmont's obviously just introduced 13s up there, so they've got 8 in their first season, which is epic.
Yeah, it's good. It's great to have actually Manly and Belmont both supporting the 13s now. Do you want to go through some of these boats and some of the tips for the day?
Yeah, let's do it. So I think we're about 6 minutes out from the start. And as you said, Bosca Build is looking pretty good. We've also got Imi, obviously national champions with Joel Beechel steering, so they'll also be probably a good contender this weekend.
So, yeah, you mentioned Bosca from St George. There's the other boat who's doing very well down there is Tugara with Tommy Clout, Sam Monkhouse and Sam Worrell.
Yep.
So they're going very well down at St George. But I suppose if you look at the 2 big clubs, Belmont, and we mentioned before, was that Shade to Water, and you mentioned before Tom Burton.
Yeah, Tom Burton.
Yeah.
He's enjoying the 16 sailing. He's with Scott Beebe and Joel Skelton as well. So, no, he was pretty pumped for this race. I'm sure the Lake Macquarie guys love coming down here and trying to beat Manly on home waters.
Absolutely. Have for years tried. They always get a little bit worried, though, when the death cats come through the harbour. So they're not used to ferries. They're not used to jet cats. But they certainly know their way around here these days. Also from Belmont, inside, Rod Carter. Sailing with Stoney. Stoney's on board, I think, with Rod today, and Coastal Advisory. I think Henry Macon's taking over today instead of Benny Bruddages. Is that right?
Yeah, Henry Macon with Dave Hickey and Brett Davis.
Brett Davis. So Brett Davis, again, he's won a couple of national titles, 2 or 3, I'd say. Big Bretty. So
he's in the same class as you, I think, Clint, of 3, is it?
Oh, I don't know, Jimmy. You're there too, mate.
I got 2. I tried.
And of course, there's the boat Swell. We're on Bosco now. Well, of course, the shebang. We've got to mention the shebang. Ant King used to sail with myself and on the fluid, and he is a very accomplished sailor. And if anyone can pull something out of the bag, it's Ant King. I think he's sailing with Julian Lindemann today.
And Alana Clancy.
There you go,
yeah.
Alana Clancy in the bow. She's the Clancys have been long-term sailors at the 16-foot skiff class.
Looks like they haven't quite gone 5-minute gun right now. Can't see the flag up. So probably just waiting for the breeze to settle a little bit. It has been changing, but it just got a little pump in there. Looks quite nice.
I think it says what you were saying before, Lisa, where the starters on the boat are standing there with all their wind instruments and all the skiffs around. It just disturbs the air quite considerable for them. And it's probably playing on their minds as well now, instead of just sort of going somewhere in the region, set the line, let's get them away.
Sometimes just throw the mark and they'll figure it out. They've got to get around the harbour anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's other obstacles to deal with.
And of course, on the screen now we've got Imey and Barnabas Building. So very, very successful skiff in the Imey.
Obviously, Trent Barnabas and Rob Napper joining Joel Beashel.
I'd expect to see big things from those guys today. I think they've certainly got the pedigree, and both Trent and Rob are no strangers to working hard around a harbour over a marathon race.
How much is stamina going to come into the race today, Clint?
Look, it's a funny thing you ask that, because most of the time, I think people treat sailing a bit like golf. You don't actually need to be that fit, but in a modern world, in every sport, you need to be very, very fit, very, very strong. So, these guys are certainly at the top end will be training. They'll be doing gym training, training on the water. So I'd say stamina will play a role, and it helps when you're fitter, you think better.
100%. That's what I was going to pick up on. It's not necessarily like, obviously you need to be able to trim the sails, but to be able to make the good decisions. You can see on the screen they've just gone postponement flag, but I think that's just because they're just waiting to set this first turning mark. The start line does look like it's in, so the skiffs can be figuring out where they want to get off this line.
So do you want to talk about, while we're waiting, we want to talk about some of these potential Manly skiffs that could be contenders today? And we did mention Imey, but last year's club champion was Modern Constructions. Yeah.
Modern Concept Construction. So they've got Spencer McKay actually filling in on helm today, with obviously Chris Williams and Jackson Cranfield as their normal crew. So yeah, they could be good out here today. Obviously, club champions last season. It was a tight club champs as well.
It was. It certainly was. Yeah, it came right down to the wire. And of course, the skiff that's always there is Buckingham Marine. With Dan Turner and the guys. I think you had a change today of crew for Angus.
Yeah. So instead of Gus Williams, you've got Simon Hoffman subbing in. So he's from up at Lake Macquarie. He's done a lot of skiff sailing as well, 49er stuff, and obviously 16s up at Belmont. So he will be in the middle with Matt Stenter as well. Actually, I think they might have been Matt Stenter on the sheet, Simon Hoffman up the front when we were at.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they might have switched it around.
While we got Buckingham Marine on so they're an all-girl crew.
Exactly. So the Queens of Buckingham. So they've got a rotating lineup of female sailors. Today we got Sophie Hart steering. So she was a 13 sailor. We've got Annika Mount Stefan and Terria Jansen. So I think Annika is actually a rugby girl that's come back she used to sail when she was younger, went off and did rugby, and now she's back on the sheet. So they've got some good power on the sheet today.
They've got some stamina.
Yeah, they've got some stamina to get around the course today. So awesome to see that, and I think that's the thing, obviously, to be able to have that rotating crew and make sure that you can get the boat out every weekend.
And talking of Buckingham Marine, I think they're based down at Woolwich, and I think they're sponsoring two skiffs.
Plus a 13.
And a 13-foot skiff.
Yeah.
Super sponsor.
Yeah, so mate, amazing.
Shout out to Mitch Buchanan from Buckingham Marine Services.
Absolutely, and thank you very much, Mitch, for your assistance. I actually did a little bit of research on Buckingham Marine before I came down and realised that they're also sponsoring Shitbox Rally for raising money for cancer. So thanks very much, guys. You know that I'm involved in that, and I'd like to say anyone that helps, is in my world is doing a great job.
Yeah, Bozo, you're still involved with Tour de Cure?
I am, mate. I am heavily involved. I think we're now up to, when we first started, I think we were up to about 12 breakthroughs. I think we're well over 200 breakthroughs now, and we're just about to celebrate 20 years of Tour de Cure. So, look, things are going in the right direction. You sort of feel it's a never-ending job, but definitely going in the right direction. And of course, if you remember, we had Adam Baraklov, who actually passed 10 years ago from brain cancer. Great skiff member and well loved down here. So always in our minds, our memories, and these days actually I'm become quite good friends with Richard Scollier, who has also got brain cancer now, and so it's one of those things we can't solve it. We just got to keep working at it.
Yeah, absolutely, Clint. Like, it's just one of those things that until we find a cure for everything, we've just got to keep at it, unfortunately.
Keep chipping away, chipping.
Get the community behind it, and
Get
it's
the
awesome
community
to see.
behind it. Yeah. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and it's all this purpose-driven. It's a fabulous thing. There's a lot of people right through it. All the connections, even through sailing or cycling or any different sport, everyone sort of joins forces to for the common good, which is what we're about as a human community.
Exactly. It's so special to be able to be out here on the water as well, and I think those things just remind you how lucky we are.
Absolutely. Appreciate everything you've got. Well said, Lise.
Well, I can see that they have popped that first turning mark in, red turning mark, so hopefully we will be getting underway not too far away. The wind's died off maybe a little bit, but still plenty of breeze to get around the racetrack.
And there's Harkin right in front of us there. They are a contender in the 13-foot skiffs today.
Yeah, they've been killing it. That is Heidi Bates, and she's back with her crew Orlando, so they had a little bit of hiatus, but they're back together and they're one to watch today, that's for sure.
Who else do we see going well in the 13s?
Oh,
the other one is Ash Napper. He's got a new sponsor this year.
Buckingham Marine.
Buckingham Marine, there you go.
He's teamed up with Theo Franklin, so awesome to see the pedigree running through the skiff club there.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, his father leads the way. Well, I think Holly actually drives them.
It's a Little Bartley Constructions, the 13. They're another one that sponsors both a 16 and a 13.
And we're seeing a bit of that now, Jimmy, like, 16 sponsors, 13 sponsors, across the class.
You're in that category too.
I am.
You've got a fluid 16, a fluid 13.
I do, and we've got Macy and Matilda, two girls sailing that and learning, and able to draw on experience and does a lot of sailing with them. So that's why they're not going so well. Maybe I should no. No, they're doing great. They're really doing great. They're trying really hard. I think they struggle a bit when it's fresh, but certainly when in a breeze like this, I think they'll go really well.
I think that's the thing, that the 13s have done amazing things to be able to sail on the same day and have that continuity. So obviously with the sponsors, but also the same race course, you're all out there together and you can transition really nicely between the two. And I think that's what keeps, the 16 such a competitive fleet. You have such a good feeder class, and people aspire to obviously sail the 13s and jump into the 16s when they're big enough or want to go a little bit quicker.
Oh, totally. And giving them that confidence. It's all about a bit of confidence, knowing that they can do it. When they know they can do it, then they say, okay, I can take the next step.
So we're still under postponement out here. Just building the anticipation, really.
Isn't it? It's getting exciting.
All right, who else do we have as contenders?
Just right in front of us here, we've got Swell. And I think, from memory, Swell did very, very well in this regatta last year.
Are they the ones that accidentally went around the wrong mark and lost? So when you go through Shark Island the first time, you go around Shark Island. But then when you're coming back to turn up wind, there's another mark just south of it. So apparently they went around the wrong mark and got disqualified. So I'm sure they've got the course laminated in their life jacket ready to go today and checking them off. Port, starboard, which mark, which colour.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's Matt Meany, Hugo Hamilton and Felix Prince on that boat. And, yeah, as you say, I think they'll all be saying, let's do it right this time. Did they? Imagine signage went the wrong way. So thank you for letting us know. Well, Nathan certainly will not be proud of that. He's got Ricky Bridge on today with him, and of course
Malcolm Page,
another Olympic champion.
Yeah, Malcolm's the new CEO of Australian Sailing as well, so he's a busy man.
There's the AP down.
Perfect. So we should be about 6 minutes out if they get their timing right. But the breeze has just shifted a little bit more round to the south, which is probably a good thing for further up the harbour. But that means that the mark which they need to round is quite far left at the moment. So a little bit more towards North Head than down to the south. So it'll be a proper beat up there. Starboard rounding.
I think the starters are probably pulling their hair out right now.
I just heard from the starter. He just rang me. He sounds pretty flustered. So.
He's very flustered, yeah.
But they're in safe hands. Got Hugh Lester starting them today. So Hugh's no stranger to big fleets and doing all this. So
Olympic race officer with the Ilka class.
And for our viewers at home who don't know, Dolly will be back hopefully next week. He's over there, the World Windsurfer Championships, doing quite well. Around the top 10 in both of the classes that he's in, so fingers crossed. Always feel free to follow Andrew Dolly Devola on Facebook to see all his updates. He's pretty prevalent on the old Facebook updates, and
awesome to see him living his best life and getting out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So listeners, you don't have to listen to me anymore. You can get someone that knows what they're talking about coming back.
All right, we're up 4 minutes 30 to the start of the Port Jackson Championship. We've got 65 16-foot skiffs and 24 13-foot skiffs ready to battle out their way around the harbour. Should we do a really quick course refresher again for anyone that's just tuning back in? It'll be really quick. So we're in the middle of the head starting, and we've got a turning mark, head down to Shark Island, up towards the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Carrabba Point, back towards Shark Island, back up the harbour, into Balmoral, and then finishing in front of Manly. 13s are similar, they're just a little bit shorter, but let's have a quick look. So same thing, down the harbour, up to the Harbour Bridge, around Carrabba Point, and back up into Manly. So that's the course. Let's dive into the pre-start.
Oh, well done. That was great. I think it's great to keep, bringing up the course so people at home who are, sitting at home, sitting on the couch, don't really see, and you're creating a whole picture. So well done, Lisa. It's great.
So, Lisa, just there on screen, explain the red and white flag up on the start boat.
So the red and white flag. So we've got the 16 flag, that's the 5 minute. The red and white flag is the U flag. So the U flag means that in the last minute of the race, you can't be over the line. Am I doing this? You can't be over the line, otherwise you're disqualified. Unlike a black flag, whereas if they were to restart where you can't then re-race. So the U flag, it just encourages people not to be over the line early. So it's a disqualification if you are over the line, unlike the blue Peter that we obviously see in the past where you can dip back down, or the I flag where you can go around the end. So big penalty for being OCS today. All right, if we're looking up the course right now, it's quite light, I would say. It's died off a little bit, so it's going to be really tough to for the trigger pull at the start.
And if you look at the pin's right down in the lightest part of the course. So, I think you'll find there'll be a stack here at the boat.
So 2:20 to go. All the boats, or most of the boats are actually, as you said, to the right-hand side of the starboat at the moment. So they'll be sort of starting to do their final approach and trying to pick their gap at the moment. The good thing with the skiffs is you can kind of get in position and hold for quite a long time, Clint.
Yeah, and look, these guys will practice that too, especially the top end. They'll practice getting in position, holding, being able to manoeuvre their boat backwards a little bit, sideways. We used to go and practice that and have a buoy and put our pole on the buoy and try and sit there.
See how much drift you have in a certain amount of time.
See if we can hold it, yeah, and know exactly what we were doing with the boat.
So we've got 1:40 to the start, so you can see the congestion there. It's going to be so tough to be able to hold your spot. Some boats are coming across on port and trying to tack and find a gap, but very crowded. I think a third of the way down from the boat is going to be pretty crowded. We're going to have about five rows here off the start, so you definitely don't want to be fifth row. But
it's quite a long line. Like you do see on that shot there's a blue buoy halfway down the line. That's for the 13s, that blue buoy. That's their start buoy. Our start mark is at the top of screen there, which is a inflatable dinghy with an orange flag, just up past where that water taxi is going through the start line. This will be good for the water taxi with a minute to go.
So 1 minute to go. If we look at where our contenders are, or where our top contenders are, Imi is in the middle of the line. We've got Shebang about halfway down.
Shade to order right at the boat, sitting in under the boat there.
Everyone is quite a way back from the line with 35 seconds to go. So everyone playing a little bit conservative here. But I guess when are we going to see people pull the trigger?
Look, they've got to be moving. In this sort of breeze, you've got to be moving, 10, 15 seconds to go. You really want to try and get this boat up to speed. So when you hit the line, you are actually going at pace. I think this start's actually set up for a Phil Harmer special, what's called a dead bird, and he come in late and then round the boat end, tack off straight away. So looking for clear air.
3 seconds to go. That's a clear start, so everyone was nice and conservative. Some people, TTR Civil getting a glamour start off the line there. Definitely those boats towards the boat end. Botany Access, the first boat to tack off, looking pretty nice. But a couple of boats that are really deep, finding it hard to tack and navigate the way through. Just goes to show how crowded it is out here. But, spectacular scenes as we go down the start line. Most people choosing to stay on starboard and work their way towards quarantine, hoping to get a nice little shift off there and maybe a little bit of funnel off North Head as well.
Yeah, so now we're seeing the fleet starting to break, and Modern Concept's gone out to the starboard side, heading south. As you say, Lise, TTR and Shebang, surprisingly. Go, Shebang.
You told me Ant King could pull it out of the hat.
Yeah.
Can he hold it together?
I don't know. Maybe his stamina might come into play. Bosca Build, of course, Sarah Lee, jettisoning herself out into the front of the fleet, doing very, very well.
I think that's the one thing that, you can really feel it when you're on the boat. But when you are in disturbed air, how painful is it? How much is it important to, get that tack in and find a clear lane on a 16?
Oh, look, it's one of those things you say to yourself, be patient, but it's very, very hard to be patient.
You can get more out of the boat,
Yeah, sometimes just grinding away is the best solution.
And that there, with the Hamilton Island signage, that's the Australian sailing team, Lise?
Yeah, so actually I know that Hamilton Island, they've got their boat out here watching the Port Jackson Championship, and Hamilton Island is joining the Australian sailing team. They did a exhibition 49er FX race during Hamilton Island Race Week, and it's really about the pathway. It's about bringing young skiff sailors to maybe some of the Australian sailing team sailors, and also helping them connect a little bit more with the community and the clubs, because we know that the clubs are really the heartbeat that feed into that high performance program. So they've got Zoe Thompson, so she's an ILCA 6 sailor, and she's got two young skiff sailors from 29er and 49er joining her. So she's got some good skiff talent to help around the course, but awesome to see Zoe out here.
I've just noticed that both Bosca and Buckingham's have bailed. Oh, sorry, Buckingham's are still going to the east. Bosca have bailed out.
we've just got a ferry coming through the 16s at the moment. So I think Buckingham choosing to continue, they'll get to the windward side of that ferry, whereas Bosca might get a little bit of a disturbed air from that ferry coming through. But ferry slowed right down, but it's still gonna, that terrible ferry lull. Not so bad with the smaller ones as when we had the big freshwater come through, but that's going to hurt a few of the skiffs. But we've got a long way to navigate around Sydney Harbour. We know once we get into the inner harbour, there'll be ferries everywhere.
And how much do you think a ferry going through like that will actually, if you have to go below it, will actually, put a dampener on your first beat?
I think it really does put a dampener on it, but it's about transitioning through it. So who can transition through it the best? Just if you were transitioning through a lull. So if you do a good job of it, it's going to hurt you, just a little bit. Whereas if you can do a really bad job of getting through a ferry lull. They're just quite hard to read when it's going to hit. But just looking at the fleet splitting, we obviously have, we've got Sutek far out to the right and Modern Concept Constructions and Buckingham Marine. They look like they are up. They've got quite a nice lift off North Head, but I think that the ones that have split out to the south have got quite good breeze, probably.
Certainly, it's like lift versus pressure, isn't it? South, there's more pressure, and then east is there's more of a lift. So it will be how these two work out. Although the guys to the east are just starting to pull some pressure now as they come into the heads.
It is a starboard rounding as well. So we've got the first boat sort of tacking out onto the right. We've got on Buckingham Marine at the moment. They look really soft in there. Looks a bit painful, whereas the boats out to the right, they're pretty soft as well. No one's full swing at the moment. Is that Noakes? Is that...
Noakes, yep.
So Noakes is a St George boat, Amy Malkins and James Lee and Joss Delvera. Sutek, a beautiful angle there, and I think they've done really well. Modern Concepts has punched a little bit more into the south, but
definitely the furthest boat south, but I think, they've really gone to the corners.
Committed.
Absolutely committed.
Probably a little bit flatter water over there where they are too, Clint, so that may play into their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. These boats do like flat water. And sailing in the bump is something that probably will favour the Manly boats more than it will favour the boats, say, from Belmont that are used to more flat water.
Looking at it now, I really think the boats out to the right are going to come out pretty strong here. They've just lifted as well. And to me, it looks like there's still more breeze coming out of the right-hand side. So, as we said at the top of the show, I get it right 50% of the time.
So let's just talk about that, because if the race course is straight up and down, if the breeze then shifts a little bit to the right, that favours then the boats
that are on that side.
Correct.
So that's because essentially they are sailing less distance. So if you if the breeze shifts to the right and you're out there, you get a little bit of a shortcut up to the next mark if you're going upwind. Whereas if you're coming from the left-hand side, you kind of get bent down and you've got to sail more distance. But we thought that they'd get a nice little shift out of North Head, but that doesn't really seem to be the case right now. The only thing is where Modern Concepts are right now, they're sort of transitioning between the two breezes. So with this east-south-easterly with the two headlands, there's this sort of transition zone where you're not getting the funneling over the two heads. And I think if they get through this transition period, they'll be looking pretty strong. Where Sutek is just to the right of the screen where we're looking at the moment, they've just gone down a little bit, but they're crossing the boats that are far left at the moment. So the right has won out of this so far.
So that probably the gauge for us here is this Modern Concept who went to the right, and Buckingham's, another top skiff went to the left, and now they've just had to tack. They've probably got a 50, 70 metre gain on them.
Yeah, Bonnie Access was also one of the first to tack out of the start. So those that sort of started right near the boat, did the first tack out, they've done really well. But, you know, unlike normal races where you're learning the course and the next lap you kind of bank that knowledge, we're about to turn right and head down the harbour. So throughout the race, you're not really, until they go around Balmoral at the end again, you're not really learning. By the time you get back out here, it could be different. So they're going to be having to think ahead the whole time, and it'll be nice to be out in front and be able to sort of pick your lane, because there's just so many 16s out here. It's hard to find the clear air. So it actually looks like just behind Modern Concepts, I think that, is it Bell Collective? They're also done really well. So I think right now they'll probably be in second. I think they played the course just a little bit more. So Bell Collective, Belmont Boat, Noah Steenson, Hayden Hansen and Will Rivers.
So looking at now, Lise, you know, we were talking about Modern Concept. They would potentially have gone too far south, but now they've actually tacked a long way in front of Sutek. So, you know, ideally they seem to have been gained. The further you go right, the more you gain.
Yeah, I think it was you were just making the most of the right breeze. So the mark that they're about to round is really far left in comparison to what the breeze direction is. So I think when the Sutek came back earlier, they fell into the left breeze maybe a little bit early, whereas Modern Concept was able to reap the rewards of the right-hand side for longer, if that makes sense. They stayed in the righty for longer, essentially, and they were also in more breeze.
So at home, we're sort of looking at, there's two breezes out there, you know, in a very simplistic approach, but the guys that are gone right are able to stay in that sort of stronger right-hand breeze, which is favouring them to the top mark.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, you know, it's always such a toss-up, especially on a course like this with this direction, is you've got to go with what you see on the water. And you know, it looked like the left could work, but I think with the course, with the breeze, it just was a little bit more to the right. I think people were probably expecting it to come round to the left. But yeah, I think Modern Concepts, when they tacked out and they went hard right, that was a full flip of the coin. And that's the thing. Some of the boats, they played the middle a little bit more, and you know, you're not as leveraged, so if it goes one way or the other. But with this split course with the headlands, committing hard seemed to be the way to go. So Modern Concepts is going to round this mark first, with, you know, quite a nice gap, but Bosca, who was out on the left, you know, they're not going to be too far behind in distance, maybe in placing right now, but, you know, the left wasn't the end of the world, but right certainly was the winner. And we've got Red Pumps.
Is that got a flying kangaroo on it?
Red Pumps, Red
Bronze kangaroo, is it?
Yeah, bronze flying roos. Tom Slingsby on the sheet there.
So how much difference do you think he's made to that boat then?
I mean, we know Tom Slingsby's a great tactician. I think he loves skiff sailing as well, and I think he'll be picking the breeze pretty well around this harbour. He's done so much sailing on the laser, but also he's moth out here, so he knows the harbour pretty well. And obviously Zoe's an awesome sailor as well. But Buckingham coming in third just goes to show that, you know, both sides of the course did work. You just had to win your side.
Correct.
And Modern Concept Construction's going for a spinnaker set just there in the background of that shot.
Oh yeah, this is well.
This is the tough thing about this course, is because normally you do win with Leeward. So, you know, you go around the top, you set the chute and you send it. Whereas right now it's like, we've got to make it to Shark Island. But because of this breeze, they're going to end up a lot lower than Shark Island. But if they stay high and they go under South Head, it could get really light. So are they going to set the spinnaker, get a bit lower, get back into the breeze that got them up here in the first place, drop the spinnaker, and then do a nice sort of port hander up to Shark Island without having the lee of the headland?
Correct. So finding that spot is going to be the challenge, isn't it? Because they're going to still have to end up east of Sow Pigs.
Yeah, I don't think they have to go one direction of Sour Pigs. I think they can pick. But
I know last year they had to go east of Sound Pigs.
Oh, yeah, so Sour Pigs to starboard on the way down, but on the way up they can go either side. So I think what they'll do is they'll get down. I don't think they'll hold the chute much longer, and then they'll have to drop it and come back up. But they're just trying to get through this light sort of transition spot. But it's all... Oh, Bosca, oh no, it's just about getting through this sort of light patch. But then the hardest thing, obviously, is knowing when to set the chute, but when to drop it. Because you might hold it longer, someone might drop it short. It's more like, I guess, ocean racing with a bit of navigation going on here.
Yeah.
And how high of an angle? I guess, obviously, you want to sail a skiff super flat, but Clint, how high can you push a 16 into the breeze with a spinnaker?
Well, it depends on how heavy your sheet hand is half the time. But if Jimmy Bury was on, I'd push it as hard as I can. And it's really something to practice, isn't it? It's you know, you get it on especially these 16s, you get it on the chine line, and you're basically in this really balancing act between, you know, going too high and it collapsing and going too low and not getting the advantage.
So it looks like that the first one to drop the kite is Buckingham Marine. So out in the distance there, they've dropped it. But we'll just focus on who we're with right now. So the end of the 16s are just coming up to the turning mark right now. And the 13s are also underway. So they started around 5 minutes behind the 16s. But yeah, beautiful shot there from the drone down the harbour. They've got a long way to get to Shark Island. Super condensed. It's almost two packs, actually. You've got the leading pack and sort of the following pack, but everyone's the leaders have dropped their kites and they're heading back to the eastern side of Sour Pigs.
And of course, Les, here comes the 13-foot skiffs, and there's 24 to 13-foot skiffs coming up the course now. They started 5-10 minutes after the 16s.
Yeah, so the 13s, the tough thing about them is the fleets just pass through. So they've got like two things. One is that you can watch the 16s and work out what works. So we've got majority of the fleet heading out to the right-hand side where Modern Concepts did so well. So they've learned from the 16s, but they're also dealing with all the disturbed air. So the good news is for them, though, is everyone's got the same amount of breeze. Looking at that, we've got Buckingham Marine doing quite well, but Harkin coming across on starboard. It's going to be a tight cross here, but I think Harkin... Buckingham's going to go for the dip, I think. So Harkin, that was who we picked as a pretty good favourite for today with Heidi Bates back with Orlando. So they're just crossed in front of Buckingham Marine, so Ash and Theo on that. But yeah, pretty tight racing in the 13s.
And just for the cyclists that are watching this who don't know the rules, Lise, why did Buckingham go behind Harkin?
Yeah, so Harkin was on starboard, which means that they were on like the right-hand side of the wind was hitting their sail, and Buckingham was on port, so left-hand side hitting their sail. So if you're on port, if you're on the left-hand side, you've got to give way to the right-hand boats, and you can do that by either doing a tack or doing a dip, which is what we saw Buckingham did. And if you don't avoid, you can get protested, or you got to do a spin, so you got to do a tack and a jibe.
Or you have to buy a beer when you get back to the club.
Yeah, depends how friendly you are with your competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit chaotic out here, actually. So a lot of the leading boats set the spinnakers and went down, whereas that mid-pack has decided to basically not set kites and head straight down the harbour.
And of course now what we're seeing is as the skiffs get down the harbour, we're going to see more of the yachts and the normal traffic start to affect racing.
Yeah, it gets so busy as you go down the harbour. I've done so much training down here, and I love sailing up at Manly and in the Sound. But when you get down the harbour, you've got the ferries, you've got everyone out there just enjoying the day on the cruises, and then you've obviously got all the yacht races as well. So, you know, sailing the 16s as you go downwind, I mean, especially when you have a spinnaker up, they don't at the moment. You're just constantly looking under the boom, checking you're not running into traffic, right, Clint?
And probably a lot of the people out there on these boats, they probably are cyclists and they have no idea about the rules.
They don't know that port gives way to starboard. So we're just chasing down the harbour at the moment, and where we are right now, we can see Botany Access, Bosca, Imagine. It's really light. We're in the doldrums here, right near Sour Pigs, but you know, there's lots of little battles going on.
And of course, when they're going from, you know, fresh breeze to light breeze, what are they doing then?
Oh, I mean, you've got so many tools at your disposal on any boat, but on the 16, it's all about mode changes. So you've obviously, you know, you've got your main gears, which are your your mainsail trimmer and your jib trimmer, but then you've also got all your little gears. So your Cunningham, your outhole, your vang. So as you transition through different periods, you want to be doing that just before you enter. So you want to be, I always say, you want to get through a lull as quick as possible so you can get to the next gust. So as you're approaching, making those minor changes so you optimize, and then once again, as you punch out the other side, optimizing again. So
you're almost trying to predict what is happening ahead of you, so you're ahead of the game.
Exactly. Always trying to be proactive than reactive. So Modern Concepts, they've just got through that tough period. They're just about to hit the new breeze that's sort of dumping over Vaucluse. So they should be, they're pretty comfortable out there, and you can see Red Pumps as well. They're starting to swing the boat down. So it's these transition periods that we're going to see throughout the whole harbour. I would say that with this direction, this area is probably the most difficult, and then we'll have to see what direction we get as we punch into Shark Island. But I think this Vaucluse period is really tough because you kind of have this massive headland with not much runway hurting you.
So we've seen Buckingham's go past Red Pumps in this sort of difficult area. Would you say that's sort of more around the guys on Buckingham's have sailed together a lot more, or they've read that transition better?
I think they probably read the transition better. The other thing is, especially when you're not sailing a normal course, it is moding. Because moding, obviously, I talked about the intricacies in trimming the sails, but in terms of moding, do you push the boat up into the wind and try and drive it a bit more as you're reaching, or do you go a bit lower? But it's getting a little bit chaotic out here. As if we just jump on Red Pumps, you can see you got the yachts coming up, you got the ilkas, you got the skiffs. There's just so much to avoid. So.
And of course, there's a dive boat now just going past both of them. So
whale watching boat.
Whale watching.
Oh my God, I've seen lots of whales out there, but not in the harbour.
So of course they're throwing some wake up, and what are the guys going to be doing when that wake's coming at them? Yeah,
so I guess when you have the wake, it's obviously trimming the sails. I mean, you want to optimise the boat. You want to keep it as flat as possible. The wave is going to kick up the hull a little bit. So trying to obviously get through those waves really well, but then obviously optimise on them as well. So the sheet hand and the driver will be working really well together to sort of get through those waves.
Trying to get into the barrel, just like
exactly.
like
in the green room,
just get in there as hard as you can.
Yeah, but I think what you kind of touched on before is Buckingham's. Obviously, I think they've got a sub in today, right? But you know, there's such
Simon, yeah, Simon, but I think he sailed with them quite a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that they're pretty in tune with that boat and how to optimise, but. It is going to be a little tight battle between those two. I think now where we see Modern Concepts, they're going into another sort of transition period under Steel Point. And once they pop through here, I'd expect it to be a little bit more south as it comes through Woollahra. So less east, maybe, just as the wind bends through. But I guess the hardest thing about sort of these conditions is having to sort of be patient and knowing that you have to transition through this period.
So you just said the breeze, you probably feel it's going to be a little bit more south, and you're looking at it because you've sailed all your life. For everyone at home, what are they looking at? What are you looking at that's giving you those indicators?
Well, I mean, yes, as I said, I kind of predict what's happening on Sydney Harbour. I spent enough time out here. But I'm looking at the boats up ahead. I'm looking at the headlands and just knowing that the way the wind can either go around land or has to go over it. So it obviously has to come over the Vaucluse headland, whereas in Woollahra it's got a little bit more room to come over and go to its normal direction rather than bend.
It's flatter across Woollahra there from Bondi, so it's like goes straight over the golf course and really does flick around.
It's got a clean run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think the yachts coming up the harbour, I mean, you can take some of them with a pinch of salt, but you generally can say that the yachts coming up the harbour will give you a very good indication of what the breeze is doing in those certain areas.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that we read the wind. So you can read the wind by looking at the water. So we're looking for the ripples, the dark patches, the direction that's travelling at you. You're looking at the flags around on the headlands or on the shore, and then the boats around you are telltales as well. And then you also have your own feeling whether the boat wants to go up or down. Up ahead, though, we've got Modern Concepts, no spinnaker, but Buckingham Marine has just chucked their spinnaker up to get through to the tough period. So they have extended from red pumps.
The other unusual thing is the freshwater class ferry coming up the eastern channel. They normally are in the western channel, so that's going to add some fruit to the rest of the fleet behind.
Red Pumps has an issue here with they've chucked their spinnaker to try stay to the port hand side, so just clearing the ferry there.
And interestingly, like they're now sailing at a completely different angle than they were sailing at 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about the Port Jackson Championship, right? That's what makes it so exciting for everyone watching at home. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's harder to predict. But I'm interested that Modern Concepts up there hasn't looked behind them and seen that they might be in the southerly now. That's probably why, because Buckingham Marine, you can see that they're fully lit up on the rail.
Well, the other thing too on Buckingham is Matt Stennis sails with Keegan York on, last year was Finport, this year is Shore and Partners in the 18s. And he sails down here every Sunday, so he knows what happens down here. So from my point of view, big advantage Buckingham Marine right now as far as this end of the harbour falls into
local knowledge.
Yeah, sailing, it's obviously so much about predicting. This ferry behind us is going to go straight through the fleet. Very unusual for the freshwater to go so far that direction. So I think it's catching quite a few of our 16s off guard. We're quite far away, but you can see on the drone shot, they are literally slicing through the fleet. So pretty punishing for the fleet back there. But I tell you what, this isn't going to be the last ferry that we're going to see throughout this race.
No,
there's still a long way to go.
Well, to be fair to the ferries, we only come down here once a year, so this is the first time that we're down here. They're not expecting us.
And you know what? They're doing a great job. Like normally you got horns going a million miles an hour. In this situation, that ferry's just backed off a little bit, just weaving its way through. Probably thought it was doing the right thing. They're just on cue. There's a horn in the background. But yeah, like, you know, the poor ferry driver, he's probably come around being advised to use the Eastern Channel and gone, are you sure the Eastern Channel, not the Western Channel? So,
why is there 1,016 coming my way?
Yeah.
So Buckingham Marine, they've just dropped their spinnaker end. So it is pretty much a beat up here now.
Yeah, and as they get closer to Shark Island, they'll lift slightly. It's a natural lift off Shark Island there. You watch the 18s sometimes, and they're heading straight at the island, and they keep their spinnaker on. They just keep coming around to the left, and they just make it around that mark there off Shark Island.
Yeah, sailing is so much. We'll be touching on this local knowledge and obviously learning the intricacies of the harbour. And I think that's the thing is because, you know, sailing, you're trying to predict the future on wind that, you know, wind is invisible, you cannot see. So to kind of know what you expect to happen, it doesn't always fall out that way, and you've got to respond to what you've got. But, you know, Modern Concepts Constructions is doing a fantastic job there, and what a shot. You can see how busy the harbour is. You've got the harbour bridge in the background and the city. So they're going to go around to Shark Island, they'll jive on over, and they'll probably just spare away for a little bit and then head on right up to the harbour to Caraba Point.
So now as they come up to the Shark Island, there's 2 marks off Shark Island.
Yes, so the first one, I believe they're rounding the yellow mark to starboard.
Yep, YA mark.
YA mark. And then when they come back, there'll be a red mark that they'll round to port. So we'll focus on the yellow mark at the moment. Modern Concepts, we can see there they're actually only just got one on the wire, and so not fully powered up there, and the bow is the bow sort of just half. So I mean that's hard on the knees, right?
That really comfortable position.
Yeah. You'd see that they've got sort of Jackson on a half string. Basically, they're trying to put his weight on the wire as much as possible.
So they've got a sub-in skipper with Spencer McKay on here. So I imagine, I guess, Clint, obviously you talked about a crew sailing together quite regularly. How hard is it when you just change one position to get that comms loop going and make sure you're all sort of optimising the boat with the same language?
Do you know, sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's not so hard.
You tell them what to do.
It's really about personalities, I think. And if personalities gel and people enjoy sailing together, it is a whole lot easier.
And he's been in the boat 3 weeks, I think, now.
Okay.
While,
Kurt's been off at the 49er World Championships in Sardinia. So, yeah. doing great there. They've just extended. Jackson's fully out on the wire there, so
they're motoring.
They're nice and powered up, and actually extended their lead quite significantly. So from not setting a spinnaker and making that decision, it looked a little bit painful, but it came good without having to do that spinnaker drop. So essentially, whilst they sailed a little bit slower, they sailed less distance. And beautiful breeze actually pumping in through Rose Bay here at Modern Concepts is really capitalising on that. But just such a beautiful shot of Shark Island from the drone. Modern Concepts, they might not have any 16-foot skiffs to contend with, but they've got a few yachts to get around this mark with. But they should be able to sneak their way through with a little bit of extra speed. So that's Modern Concept Constructions leading the Port Jackson Championships. They're the Manly 16-foot skiff club championships from last season. So starting the season off strong here and going around the outside and doing an overtake as they head down beautiful Sydney Harbour on what is just such a glorious day. And
they've probably put 100 metres on Buckingham's now, or, extra. And I'd say a lot of that was probably just kite up, kite down, keeping the nose clean, just concentrate on the job at hand rather than try and get too tricky with it.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing in sailing is to keep it simple. But I think the hardest thing is not knowing exactly what you're going into. And I was actually, I guess, how much are you going to lose in a spinnaker drop, Clint, like in terms of the kite is flogging and the crew's off the wire and things like that. That's really going to slow you down.
Well, I think with a set and a drop, I think you've probably got to put 30 seconds into it. So you want your spinnaker run to be big enough that it'll make up for that and more.
Well, the interesting thing too is obviously on Buckingham's it's a conventional spinnaker bag, where on Modern Concept Constructions the Red Pumps Red is a spinnaker chute. So. Does that play into it a little bit?
Does it? Well, yeah. It should be easier, shouldn't it, for Modern Concepts to launch a spinnaker, and yet they didn't.
Yeah, correct. That's my thought process anyway, Clint. Like I could be very wrong. I'm a sheet hand.
Like you say, Jimmy, if we get it 50% of it right, we're doing well.
I try my best.
So we got Red Pumps coming around in third.
And that's Zoe Dransfield, who is sailing very, very well this season. Another female steerer, and her brother is sailing on Red Pumps. I always forget these.
The other, I think this is Red Pumps Red.
This is Red Pumps Red. So the white boat is Red Pumps Red, and the red boat is Red Pumps.
Okay. Right.
Okay, just to confuse us, the red hull is not Red Pumps Red. Got it. You're really making this easy for me and the viewers at home.
Just making your job when you go back to Sail GP, Lisa. Just to make it appreciated more.
Well, we got Botany Access coming around in fourth. That's Chris Thomas, Ryan Thomas, and Michael Childs. So Michael's a Commodore at Manly, and they had an awesome start, and they've got an awesome handicap as well. So it could be a good day for Botany Access out here on the harbour.
I was just about to say that about the handicap. I think these guys have been bottling it up, waiting for the big prize money to be on offer.
So let's talk about that. The prize money that Manly put up for this regatta, it's a lot of money, is it?
$35,000 for the day, so it's quite a considerable chunk of the purse for the season, for the sailing, but it's one way to increase the prize money here, and also for the Botany Bay Championship to try and revitalise both of these races, because they're quite, as you said, Clint, they're quite deep in history, and they sort of fell by the wayside for a while. So I think the club's just doing a bit of the right thing and putting the money in the right place and having a go at it. And you're not going to say no, are you? If it's
oh, fabulous! So to win the handicap on today's event is what are they going to put in the pocket there?
$2.5, I think.
$2,500.
Yeah.
Well,
but they pay all the way down to, I think, last place on handicap. I think you get like $50 or $20 or something. There's a problem here on Damien on screen at the moment with their spinnaker. Hopefully that's not prawning too much.
Now I'm just going to have to correct you guys because it's actually $3,000 to win, because I don't know if you know, but Fluid won this last year.
We might have shortened it up after you won it, Clint.
So we've got Imagine, Signage and TTR just going around the mark. Now, this looks like a really tough rounding for Imagine's Signage. TTR snuck on the inside, but, we see other yachts on the screen right now. They're not in this race. They're in their own race. But just trying to navigate around the yachts around the harbour is tough. Imagine Signage just sitting there, not being able to break free, while TTR went to leeward and actually popped out, which is
That was
quite
incredible,
rare.
wasn't it? It was like watching Bathurst when the two lead cars slide out to the outside and the third car just ripped around the inside.
You should have been watching our live stream of the club championship last week.
Oh yeah, well I had both of them. I had a split screen on. Yeah.
Well, we got 116 there. They're going back upwind, trying to fix something at the front of their boat.
That's Damien?
Damien. So yeah, that looks like something's wrong with the kite. Hopefully they can get that fixed because they're in a pretty nice position there. So they want to be able to fix that and head down the harbour. Next round we've got Dominoes coming around.
So the breeze looks like it's eased actually a fair bit now.
Yeah, it's really light here. I think when we're looking down the harbour now, we can see that the boats are jibing their way down. So they're heading back across on starboard, heading up towards, I guess, back towards Bradley's Head. So this is quite an easterly direction to head them down. So I guess a proper run. It's really light right near Shark Island, but it's actually light all the way down the harbour now. So that easterly, you know, I was talking a lot about the headlands and the winds funneling through. As it's getting down, it's not funneling or it's not dumping, so it's getting lighter as we get down the harbour, which, you know, makes it more fickle, more challenging, and you can...
Well, this is a big section of the track that if the guys are having to jive and all the way down to the bottom, and then you have to then work your way up, there's obviously a lot of room to improve or lose positions.
Yeah, I think, you know, the fleet has spread out considerably, but, you know, those top 10 boats, whilst they are spread out, there's still a lot that can be won or lost. And I think in conditions like this, where it's kind of hard to see exactly what's happening as you kind of go down the harbour, there's lots of traffic, is to look to the boats in front of you and see what's happening. But with a course like this as well, is I keep talking about transition zones, but you might be in a good pocket of breeze, but you've got to somehow. So the boats that we're on at the moment, we're over near Bradley's Head with these boats. They look like they're a little bit lighter than the boats that are on the south side of the harbour, but the south side of the harbour boats have to get over to the eastern side of the harbour, so the northern side of the harbour. So just trying to pick your time of when you cross the harbour is going to be tough by the looks of it.
Interesting to note that the sedan on board Bosca, being Keegan York, went furthest east.
I really like where Bosca's gone. I think that they're going to do quite well here. They look like they're in really good breeze. They're going to be on a really tight angle to get to Carrabba Point, but as it gets lighter, it means that they'll start being able to go a little bit higher, but they've got to just get across the middle of the harbour here, so I'm expecting them to start bending their legs a little bit. The boat will start pointing a little bit more to the right as they try and power up the 16. We've got Modern Concepts Construction there. They're coming back towards... They're going to have to do a couple more jibes, but they've got quite a good lead. They've punched out, and they're heading across on port towards...
Isn't that a magic shot with the Harbour Bridge in the background?
How lucky are we?
What a great team this Sale Media team is.
We try and take in all the sights for you, Clint.
Yeah, we're taking it to the world. Sydney Harbour to the world.
So Bosca here doing so well. They've made big distance gains on the fleet. You can see they're just hanging on to the wire. They're getting ready. They're going to transition through this light spot.
So Bosca went a whole lot way south than the other boats.
They've done really well here.
They've found some clear air, and they've made some major gains. They're going back for more.
Going for the jibe. So jibing right in front of Sutek, so protecting that left-hand side, protecting the southern side of the course. So Bosca did win this last year, so they're pretty savvy on the harbour course with, as you said, Keegan spending plenty of time down here. But just looking up ahead again, we've got quite a little bit of a battle going on with, I think Red has actually
made some moves.
Overtaken Buckingham Marine.
Yeah, definitely made some moves on them there.
So,
Jeez, it's busy down here.
Yeah, it's super busy. Well, lucky we got Jimmy driving us around. I know he's got eyes everywhere. But yeah, Modern Concepts Construction still in the lead, but Red Pump Shred doing really well. It looks like most of the breeze has been on the southern side of the harbour, but yeah, just looking back now, you can just see how busy it is. It's pretty light as well.
Be a real treat for some of the viewers. This will be the first time they've probably seen a historic 18 that's just going past.
Well, that,
Red Pumps Red there is Scott.
So Buckingham's must have got a little bit lost down this run, because you can see, I think Botany are now actually have overtaken them.
Botany has also, overtaken them. So what we were saying before, Clint, was that they've got to then navigate back up to Shark Island. So by sailing down here, they're going to be taking a mental note of where the best breeze was. So, I think those boats that stayed to the southern side, so stayed away from the zoo, away from Bradley's, they got in a bit more breeze. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them heading back out that way. But I actually think that both Red Pumps and Botany Access have gained a huge amount of distance on modern concept constructions as well. So the race is really on. It's really condensed up here, and just as we expected in this breeze where it's changing so gusty as well, the difference between being in a gust and a lull is so big that the distance can change so dramatically, I guess, in both the speed that the skipper's going, but also the distance that you're sailing.
And generally, a rule of thumb is the side that you were competitive on going downhill is the side that you will pick going back uphill.
100%, but it really depends the reason why. So if that was more breeze, then 100%. But maybe if it was shift, you might play with it a little bit differently. But I think it was breeze, but by the looks of it. So Modern Concepts just going around the next mark. So they're just taking this Carrabba Point Mark 2 port, and they're going to be heading back up to a different mark, but near Shark Island. And Red Pumps Red coming in second, and Botany Access super close behind. So really tight racing here.
So out of the three, I mean, I'd put Botany Access probably a good minute behind Modern Concept, and they've made that up in spades.
Huge gains. And I think, one of those things is sometimes being behind is you can see it sort of play out in front of you. Say, oh, they've slowed down, they're bending their knees, they're pretty light over there. Let's go out the other side or sail around them.
Absolutely.
But looking back up to sort of Shark Island, Rose Bay at the moment, you can look up the harbour, you can just see, we said at the beginning that the skiffs were going to take over the harbour, and there are a lot of them, but there's a lot of other boats out here just enjoying a beautiful, beautiful day on Sydney Harbour.
Absolute wall of sails up there.
Yeah. I think the thing is, it's light to moderate breeze, but lucky it's not too much wind here, otherwise it could be a bit of carnage.
It could be, absolutely.
Oh, what beautiful scenes. You can see your Imagine signage coming down there, navigating their way through. It's super condensed in that mid-fleet, and with prize money going all the way down the fleet, every position's going to count. And I think the thing that I love about 16-foot skiff racing is there's always the battles within the fleet. So obviously you want to be up the front battling, but you always have the guys and the girls that you're used to racing every weekend, and it's bragging rights.
And we just saw one of the old skiffs. Maybe Jimmy can tell us about one of the old skiffs.
That's the Australia there, Bozo, that one with the
They've got the green and gold.
Yeah.
And then the one that's going to come into shop behind it, that's the Aberdare. So I was actually watched the Aberdare get built back in the day. They're all replicas. You can go sail them, bring up Rolf Cohen at Sydney Flying Squadron, have a go.
So that's where we've come from, isn't it?
Well, that's what the 16s originally used to be like, exactly that, 2 foot shorter. They're a hoot to sail. They're a real hoot to sail. I've done a couple of Australian championships in the vintage 18s, and
you go, old versus new.
It's something different.
And I suppose skiffs have sort of defined Sydney Harbour in a lot of respects in terms of sailing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're, the skiffs are part of the furniture of Sydney Harbour. Doesn't matter what class. They've, we've all come through skiff sailing at some point, and it's good to see. It's from one end of the harbour to the other. There's skiff clubs littered everywhere, so it's there's no better place to be. The Sydney Flying Squadron is the oldest open boat sailing club in Australia, so it's another interesting fact of Sydney Harbour.
Oh, absolutely.
To know where you're going, you need to know where you're coming from. It's the most important thing.
Well, to have history and have the modern boats out here on the same water, you know, basically on a track that has been sailed, you know, for many centuries, is incredible, and full marks to all those people that contribute to keep that happening.
So we've got Geotech Chemicals, I think, on the
Nathan McNamara
screen at the moment. Geotech Assessments.
Yep.
They won last week's
They did
race,
win last week,
so
yeah.
they're in good form at the moment. But just looking up the harbour, I said that you learn something by sailing down, but I think it's changed again. The north side of the harbour seems to have a little bit more breeze at the moment. So this race is definitely testing the sailors out here. I don't think anything is for certain. We're just making our way back up to Shark Island, picking up some of the rest of the fleet.
The fleet seems to be going further to the south, like the Monte Cosmo's gone hard south.
That is the better way to go, Clint, because like you cross the tide, like you cross out of the tide a bit. Up under around Bradley's Head, the breeze gets a bit funky and swings around in this breeze direction, believe it or not, and it doesn't make for comfortable sailing. And as you can see, all the traffic, as we're looking out the camera cat to the left here, you can see all the traffic that just piles around Bradley's Head. So it's not a place you want to hang out.
And the other thing is, so we were talking. We were talking about the tide changing as well, and the tide changed around 1 o'clock. So the tide, although only an hour and a half in, is starting to have an effect.
Especially as we're down the harbour here, because down the harbour it obviously has to funnel out from all the way up the river. So we are seeing a little bit of a tide effect, and it'll slowly start building. It's probably windy enough that the tide's not too much at play right now. But yeah, there's lots of battles going on throughout the fleet all the way up.
Speaking of battles, where are these 13-foot skiffs?
I can see one just rounded Shark Island. A couple actually have already made their way around Shark Island, so they're not actually too far behind.
Well, someone with
16s.
better eyes than me, tell me who's leading the 13s?
Well, I can see one with a grey spinnaker.
Buckingham Marine.
Buckingham Marine.
Buckingham
There we
Marine.
go.
Geez,
Oh no,
they're gonna
I got
plug
Harkin out on our right-hand side. So Harkin is leading.
Oh,
They
wow.
just in front of Typhoon, the 16-foot skiff. So they're right in the mix here with the 16. So they started 5 minutes behind.
And they've caught up to
And
the 16s.
they've caught up with
And fast.
3 foot less. So they got, and they're working this southern shore. So that was the pick of the day as well. We thought that Harkin would do well with
And that-
Heidi steering.
And there's, is it Georgia Clancy steering the Typhoon today?
Yep, Georgia's on the Typhoon. She is with Lindsay Stead and Lucky Pryor. Fleet is super spread out as we make our way back through the fleet here. But yeah, awesome to see the 13s contending with the 16s. They'll be back home without having to go through that Balmoral bit. But yeah, so the course, just to remind people, we're coming back up to Shark Island, heading to Manly Cove, heading up to the Sound for the 16s, into Balmoral, then back into the Sound, and then up to Manly Cove. So it's probably about not quite halfway through the race yet.
So here's Buckingham Marine, and we're putting them as second, are we?
Yes, mate.
That's the only other one I can
second.
see right now. So Buckingham Marine, we've got...
Coming third would be the Kitchen Maker. Are my eyes good enough to see that?
You got a couple of ones without signage. One's number 57, and the other one looks like 54, maybe. Could be wrong on that second call. But definitely 57.
Well, 57 is the only number I don't have in my notes, so I'm not quite sure who that is right now. So whose sail they've borrowed. Some tight little battles going on, though. We've also got the little mini modern concept constructions as well. So most of the 13s have, I think all of the skiffs have now rounded Shark Island and making their way down to Carrabba Point. So that's Red Pump's 13 doing the jibe over, and
what do we think? We're sort of nearly halfway through this course, or we're probably a third through. We're
I think once they get to Shark Island, we can call
gonna
halfway.
call it halfway.
Yeah, I agree with Lisa.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So we have Red Pumps Red. Or Red Pumps, sorry, the 13.
Red Pumps 13. And you can see we've got 2 more coming across on
One is
port
Amy,
as well.
and the other one is number 55.
Number 55 is Abigail Rolfe and Peter Rowe.
And then you've just around to the right of the screen, we have Bigfoot.
That's Lily Kiln and Joe Corbell.
And in the background there, with the Black Spinnaker, a brand new sponsor for the 13s, Cadence & Co.
Cadence & Co. Well, Cadence & Co. are in front of Fluid Building. I'm not liking that at all.
Cadence & Co. are Zara Wyatt and Toby Williamson. And where's Fluid, Clint?
Oh, Fluid are coming down. They've seen Cadence & Co. I think they're about to make their move.
All right.
And
As we know, anything can still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Darren Mills, shout out to you, mate. We'll get you in the end.
And just around to the left of, to the right of that shot there, we get the camera around. That's all our sponsors are out on that boat there for the day to follow all the action, which is pretty cool that the club's organised that for us. So
Oh, it's very nice.
we'll get back to the racing, and here's the. We'll give the Fluid a little love plug.
Let's give them a plug. Give them a plug.
You know, they. How long has Fluid been sponsoring skiff racing for?
A long time, but the girls haven't been sailing together too long. You know, they've only had a sort of a season together. They're looking great there. Doing a great job. Got a pan on the Fluid there, guys, for me.
It's a really nice breeze. It's a really comfortable breeze, I guess, to sail in.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful shot of Fluid there going down towards the Harbour Ridge. That's Macy and Matilda, courtesy of Clint Bowen.
Thank you. And of course, Matilda is Aunt King's daughter.
There's another good sponsored boat, mate. The Sail
Sail
Media.
Media. Yeah.
Now we're out of Middle Harbour.
Ella Sangster and Holly Herbertson. So we're supporting the girls on this boat. I love it.
Spread the love around, Lisa.
Proud of the women. They're coming for you.
Yeah.
All right, what is happening down this course? It is looking tough. So everyone's around Shark Island. They're heading down to Kirribilli, and half the fleet is heading back up to Shark Island. So you can see on the screen there, Modern Concept Constructions are coming across on starboard, looking pretty light where they are right now. Closest
Definitely.
competitors, where is Red Pumps Red and Botany Access? Let's see whose eyes are best.
Not mine.
Oh, I can see Buckingham Marine are coming across on port from Bradley's Head. So they look like they've made gains, actually,
Yes.
considering where they were around that mark.
Sort of seeing towards Garden Island, just behind some of the 13s there, top of screen, there's 2 skiffs, and one looks like it's got a bit of red in the sail.
They look like they have a great angle as well on the southern side. I guess that's Red Pumps Red. I think Modern Concepts will still be... not quite sure. It's going to be tight here,
It's going
actually.
to be tight, yeah.
Because Modern Concepts is what I would say on a knock, so they haven't got the best angle, whereas Red Pumps Red, they're hooking into this sort of southerly breeze coming out of Rushcutters Bay, and they've got a really beautiful angle, and they're stretching out on the trapeze, so they're doing quite well here. Modern Concepts has just flipped over. We can see that their knees are bent. They're going a little bit slower, and I'm going to say that Red Pumps Red with Zoe, Tom, and who is on, and Jamie Stoddart picked a good shift here. It's going to be tight though. Modern Concepts just hooking into a little bit of breeze now. So yeah, Red Pumps Red crossing ahead. I'm going
Quite comfortably.
Quite comfortably, Modern Concepts.
So talk me through the strategy here, Lise. If you were the lead boat and you went round the bottom mark in the lead, and you had someone that of the calibre behind you, would you sail away from them?
I probably wouldn't sail away from them, but I think the difficult thing about this wind, it's a little bit hard to cover, but I would say what you don't want is leverage. And what I mean by leverage is splitting too far away from them. So, I mean, Red Pumps Red has done quite well there. They probably gained 200 metres, but their big gain was obviously on the downwind. I think, we know that Tom has sailed this harbour so well that he knows how to pick a shift so well. So you definitely don't want to be sailing too far away from it, but you really have to sail the breeze that you've got at that moment. And even if you're 100 metres ahead, you could be sailing a different breeze than your competitors just by the way that this course is configured.
You're very nice, Les.
I am?
Yeah, you're very nice to these sailors.
The other thing too is
what would you say? You're calling them a muppet? Why did you spit?
Why did you go away from them?
the other thing too to take note is like you often hear, especially in the 18 telecast in the nor'easter, will say first to Bradley's wing. It's the only time it works. Going to Bradley's is really in a nor'easter. Other than that, you stay right away from it. And I think that's what Modern Concepts unfortunately fell into the pitfall there.
But amazing work by Botany Access. I mean, they have dropped back a little bit, but to hold on there and keep so close and being in third in this race is fantastic. And then just looking back, I'm trying to spot Buckingham Marine, which we know never to ride off.
Over here towards Double Bay, Lisa.
So they're digging in a lot closer to Point Piper. I think they might actually have Botany Access here when they come back.
The biggest problem they've got is the Sydney 2000, the Captain Cook boat, cruise boat, will have Buckingham's in the pocket. That's the problem.
Modern Concept Constructions is also digging quite deep into Point Piper, which I'm quite surprised with, because unless they think that they're going to get a nice little shortcut shift by going that way. But as you said, we've got to navigate the winds, we've got to pick the shifts, find more breeze, but we've also got to navigate all the traffic on this harbour, and I tell you what, there's plenty of it.
And that's potentially what has happened. Suddenly a boat or some big boat got in the middle of you, and a lay or a split to occur.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get a choice. But where Red Pumps is right now, they're hooking into some really nice breeze. They'll be able to basically lead Modern Concepts back. I think Modern Concepts might have made a small gain actually digging out to the right hand side. And as we round Shark Island, the red mark to port and head back out the harbour, it starts to become. Modern Concepts has had a big dip there. It's getting really light under this headland, but Red Pumps, Tom Slingsby not letting Spencer McKay breathe at all.
Didn't let him breathe, did he?
Or maybe that's Zoe Dransfield calling the shots there, I reckon.
So Zoe's tacked straight on to Modern Concept. And what are they trying to do there?
So where Red Pumps is tacked, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to A, protect their position, but B, also hurt Modern Concepts Construction by creating some turbulent wind. So the wind that they're sailing through gets disturbed, and then Modern Concepts has to sail through it. I think Modern Concepts might just be breathing a little bit there. They seem to have just put their bow down a little bit to try punch through, but it won't be as clean as if they were out in front.
Look at the lift Red Pumps Red just got there.
And certainly you wouldn't expect Tom to be nice out here, would you?
I mean, Tom Slingsby, I interviewed him after every Sail GP, and he said the day I'm happy with coming second is the day I should quit. So Tom Slingsby, whether he's sailing at Sail GP or sailing 16-foot skiffs, he's going to go for it.
Yes, that's very evident at the moment.
You can see that they're sort of half in, half out as well. So you've got one on the wire.
So modern Concept have just tacked.
I think they're gaining ground.
What are we expecting Red Pumps to do?
Red Pumps, there we go, swinging in the tack to cover.
Straight into them. Yeah.
But they have closed them up a little bit there, but they're not letting them breathe. The thing is, though, it's going to get really fickle as we try to get around Shark Island. But then once they sort of head back up, we've got to go through all those transition zones again. But it's a different story as you're sort of reaching and sailing upwind.
So now, looking at these two boats, and again, we'll talk for the cyclists, but what is Modern Concept trying to do now to Red Pumps in order to get by them?
So it looks like to me Modern Concepts is sailing sort of like a lower, faster groove. So they're kind of trying to drive the skiff a little bit more, trying to get more pace, whereas Red Pumps is trying to just shut them down and not let them breathe, essentially. So not let them split too far away. Modern Concepts, they might, they're maybe a little bit more experienced as a crew with Chris and Jackson at the front, and obviously sailing with Spencer quite a lot. So maybe as we get up the course, they might try to throw a few more tacks in. But Red Pumps, looking pretty slick with their manoeuvres.
And I just noticed, Lisa, I believe the last 13-foot skiff has just rounded Shark Island, been Ebix.
They got a long way to go.
A long day.
They must have got caught in the doldrums somewhere.
Do we ever give anyone a shortcut, Jimmy?
So,
What?
You know, if they're a long way behind, do we ever give them a shortcut? You know, just say, hey, listen, come on.
so
Well, I got accused of a shortcut a couple of times.
I'm just interested what Red Pumps is doing right now, because according to me, they should be rounding a red mark to port.
Yeah, the red mark's directly off our bow,
Okay,
Lisa.
cool. There's a couple of red marks. That's why I got confused.
Okay, we can breathe easy. There's a lot
God,
of
I
red
was like-
marks out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never fear.
It wouldn't have been the first time. Yeah, so we get a lot of congestion. Again, obviously all the yachts are coming through, which is pretty painful, but Red Pumps has done quite well on Modern Concepts here and extended once again. So Modern Concepts isn't in the dirty area. They're a little bit more to windward, so they're tracking comfortably, but I think both boats will have to do a couple more tacks to get up to this mark, and then it's probably a spinnaker set around this mark down. What do you reckon?
Be a tight one, Lisa, but like at least it'll get them out of Rose Bay. Get out of Rose Bay, get around Steel Point, like try and pick your line there to get back up around Sound Pigs. Is all happy days there.
I think the moding is something that obviously I keep talking about the shifts and the gusts, but the optimizing the moding is so tough in these conditions, Clint.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and trying to predict it, as we were talking about before. I was just saying, you know, like, I don't know if we've got just sailors watching this, but how do people know they can't hit the rocks over there?
Well, there's like it's quite funny. Like I hate to keep on referring back to Sail GP, but they do the prize giving up on that island, and I've got in a lot closer than what I've ever thought to the island to get camera angles out of there. But yeah, there's a safe water mark there. There's a lighthouse on the other side on Connor's Reef, on the other side of the lighthouse. And if they're really worried about where the rocks are, they can watch the 18 stream for last Sunday, where just about every boat ended up on Shark Island. We had the drone up over the top so you could see where all the reefs were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. So, but yeah, it's well charted. Just disappointing that people do end up there.
Here we go, Red Pump's nice and close.
Beautiful tack.
Slinger's just having trouble hooking up the trapeze. Not used to that.
I was going to say, we wouldn't be very used to that.
He's doing awesome, though. Awesome to see him come down here. You know, I think that's the cool thing about the 16s is what these, you know, legends want to do on their weekend, because 16 sailing is so much fun. Racing on Sydney Harbour is absolutely incredible, and to be able to race at this calibre at home on a harbour that's so beautiful is just super cool. So awesome to see him down here and joining in on the fun.
Well, I don't know if you remember, like maybe 3 years ago, Slingsby and Outreach borrowed my boat.
Up at Belmont,
And
right?
sailed to Belmont, yeah. They did really well. I mean, 16s are actually, you know, there's a lot of nuances. It's hard, they're actually hard to sail, so especially you haven't sailed them before. But the guys did really, really well.
So there we go. They've chosen to set the spinnaker. They're going quite far down the harbour, but yeah, they'll just be trying to get out of that light patch. Modern Concept Constructions, they'll be a little bit disappointed that they let that lead slip, but still doing really well, having to obviously bear down quite a lot to set the kite, and then they'll heat it up, rip it up, and try and make some gains back.
So we're calling halfway through the race now.
All right, officially.
All right, here we go.
Officially, Clint.
Right, officially halfway through the race.
So we're halfway through our 13.5 nautical mile race.
They can still come back.
That's an incredible lead, though, that Red Pumps has pulled out in just sort of one leg of the race.
Well, I think they made a huge gain just up in here, close to Shark Island.
So our next battle is between third and fourth. So Buckingham Marine, they've had a great little upwind run from Carrabba Point up to Shark Island. They've put a lot of distance back on Botany Access. It's going to be pretty tight cross. Obviously, we're on Red Pumps on the drone. Absolutely incredible shot. But here we are back on the battle. Looks like Botany Access may just have it, as they've tacked in front, and they'll just do one more tack to round this mark to port.
They might even have that port starboard advantage.
There you go. So this would be a good day out for Botany Access.
It would be a great day out for Botany Access. And if their handicap is what it is...
Yeah, well, the other one to keep in mind is TTR Civil from St George. They're sailing quite well for their race as well. They're not too far behind. But off screen, we've just had, well, at the back of that shot there, you just seen Red Pumps Red drop their spinnaker. Modern concept constructions with a little bit more weight on the rail, being able to get a bit higher and get out of Rose Bay.
So you would think, Jimmy, they're making some gains there?
Well, it depends, as you know, Lisa alluded to earlier. Basically, in the same position that where they've come through that transition period, they've just got to work that out and work that out well.
They've just gone down a lot there. You can see how much that the boat's heeling over, the spinnaker's flogging. They're going to go for the drop. So it's a big day for a bow man or woman today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the direction they were heading, they might as well have been going back to the Harbour Bridge.
Exactly. It's so hard to make that call. When do you drop it? That timing could, be 100 metres in the end. But this will be a tight battle here, and this is where you want to, pick your mode right. So if you can go up early, so you can see Buckingham Marine, they're probably a little bit higher than you normally would be for a downwind run. If you can go high early, are you going to be able to hold it for longer, or do you get down earlier to get the breeze? Like Botany Access, their angle has just changed dramatically. They're going to have to drop way earlier than we saw Modern Concepts and Red Pumps. So timing is everything.
Yeah, and I suppose if you could keep the boat high here long enough, you've lifted your centreboard, potentially use the lee of the land in order to stay high.
Yeah, so they're going to have to drop like a minute before the other boats, Red Pumps and Modern Concepts, did. They're going to get a little bit lighter here. So, Botany Access, I think they're going for the drop there. So, we saw Modern Concepts only just drop their spinnaker, and they've been through 2 minutes beforehand. So, it's quite a tough, tactical game that you wouldn't normally see in your weekend racing with the skiffs is spinnaker up, spinnaker down. Maybe in the 18s, obviously, with their race course, but the 16s is generally up and down. You don't have to drop it around the course.
Yeah, well, I've seen Robbie Napper started up the Forward Hands Union again. He's relaunched that one, so there might be a committee meeting of all the forward hands after today's race.
Yeah, Modern Concepts has chosen to go spinnaker back up, so it's really a tool to be able to get through these light spots, and it's tossing up distance. Like Botany Access is just to the left of the camera cat right now. They're no spinnaker, they're sailing straight up the harbour, whereas Buckingham Marine is sailing back down towards...
they're sailing faster, but in the wrong direction.
Exactly, so I actually think that they should be dropping, because where Botany Access is right now, they've got nice breeze, and they can always set the spinnaker again, whereas Buckingham, they're going for the drop now. They're going to have to almost sail back up here. So it's really hard because it's not something that you practice that much to be able to pick. And we've got actually a real little battles going on throughout the fleet. So Botany Access is chosen to go spinnaker back up because they've got the light breeze. We've got all sorts going on behind us. Can't quite tell who that is with the...
Someone's in a bit of trouble there.
Oh, here we go. Powering up. Dominoes.
It's a Dominoes.
Dominoes is who it is.
Dominoes trying to get the chute up.
I was just noticing off camera, Lisa, there's a boat there that I made you jump off a while back.
Oh, yeah, so Marcelot Comanche is coming down the harbour as well. So, yeah, I got to do the start of the Hobart with them and then jump off the back when we got to Balmoral because I didn't fancy going all the way to Hobart on it.
No.
So, yeah, look at the snakes and ladders there. We just had Buckingham's take Botany Access, and then Botany Access now come back at them, now with a spinnaker up, one spinnaker down.
Well, we talked about stamina. Now stamina's coming into it. Who can pull the chute up and down? And being a crew from my NACRA days, when the skipper calls up, go kite down, you're like, oh, another one, but... after all of that, they're about the same distance apart as they rounded the mark. So
just with the energy burn.
We're in a real light patch now. So obviously, being under Steel Point, looking up the course though, Red Pumps Red is almost back up to
gone.
South Peak, so they're absolutely gone. They've had the biggest lead of the race so far, but you can just
Over
see
a minute,
how.
I'd say, Lise. Yeah.
And knowing the course up there, I think, they're kind of through the hardest part of it at the moment, and so they should start to feel a little bit more confident.
You would think down in the Sound there's probably more consistency of breeze.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and you're back to, Balmoral. There's less traffic. There's less nuance around there.
Who have we got there?
We got Bosca. So they're doing fairly well. They've chosen to go Spinnaker. They're absolutely ripping there, actually, and they're going to put quite a lot of distance on Buckingham and Botany Access, but I really think it's about timing that you go around Shark Island, what gust you get at that time, what angle it is, and how much it can basically rocket ship you down the harbour.
Yeah,
Up the harbour, I should say. So they've just slowed down now. They probably can hold the Spinnaker a little bit. Oh, they're dropping it.
Dropping it right on cue.
We've got
Who have we got coming right up behind us here?
have decided not to set a Spinnaker, come all the way close to the point. But then they have the opportunity.
So Noakes look like they'll take a more direct route, and looking at the breeze, they may have made a good decision.
It does get very swirly right on that point.
Right
there
on that point.
At Steel Point, Clean.
I think what they've done is they've gone for the gamble. So they're saying, okay, we're going to go high. If they get this one puff, they can punch through here. And I think, is it going to move or not? That's the question. But just to our left, Bosca, who was ripping down with the kite, they're both on the wire there. So they're doing quite well. So I think that that strategy tends to be the strategy that pays off.
So Noakes is going now. That's good, clean living, isn't it? You're praying for one now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And looking ahead, looks like they're in pretty strong breeze. So they've navigated that super well. And it really is timing. Is it there when you round, or is it not? And you've got to get away from the point. So, yeah, awesome job by them. Good call.
Who's the forehead hand on Noakes?
On Noakes, you've got...
Lenny Kravis.
Mate, I was going to say, he has got the best head of hair, that guy.
Joss Dalvera.
Mate. Kill for that.
St George boat, Noakes.
Nothing wrong with your hair, Jose.
Are you looking at my chest? Wow.
Oh, tough love there. You've got to be so agile on these 16s, eh? Especially when it's like this.
Yeah, when they go, there's not much to grab you.
Got to imagine signage there. They've done...
And that's Canberra Airport's in the background of them.
Well, Canberra Airport are going very well this season.
That's Archie Cropley, Max Paul and Tom Koenig. So they're just dropping the Spinnaker there. So they're doing...
Well,
It's not a bad team on paper when you look at it.
Yeah, I was going to say
That's an interesting sponsorship too, Canberra Airport.
Well, they've got so much competition there with other airports in Canberra. That's why they got to do it. But it's great to see them come on board. It's,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's...
There's swell coming down, so they're probably not having the race that they were planning on. That's a Belmont boat with Matt Meany, Hugo Hamilton and Felix Prince. So bit of a battle going on there. So we've got... I've lost count how many boats going through, but I'm going to call around 10.
At least, yeah. Well, Swell have been going really well at Belmont. I think they're running 4th in the championships there.
Right.
Behind Inside Coastal and Shade to Order. But I haven't seen the other boats from Belmont, so...
So interestingly, Imagine Signage have chosen, they've held the Spinnaker for the longest. So they're, as I say that, yeah, they're trying to push it as far down the harbour as possible, but that means that they're going to have to sail a tighter angle as we get up, because we've got to go back. That first turning mark that we saw them all go through past the start, that's where they're all heading now. So that's the next sort of point of reference. So they'll end up having to tack as they get up the harbour to get up there.
And when you look way down the harbour there, you think Red Pumps is approaching that turning mark. Well, they got a tack still out to sea.
Okay, we got Tribeca.
Eric's storage and Damien with
So-
Imey just about to come into shot now. And Swell Racing's just to the left of that shot there, just up high.
So, Imey, Barnabas Building, obviously national champions from last year. Holding in there. And then Eric's storage, Scott Cotton from Middle Harbour with Nathan Edwards and Alex Leslie. So they're doing pretty well today. And then we've got geochemical assessments.
Nathan McNamara, Warwick Taylor and Jack.
Yeah, having a good little battle against Sutek and TTR. So it's nice when it's almost nice when you've got three together, because you can race that pack and know if you're making gains. Whereas in this long course, marathon course, you can get out there by yourself. Like Modern Concepts right now, they're sort of whilst they're racing Red Pumps ahead and Botany Access behind, you're kind of racing your own race at that moment, and you're not quite sure if you're making gains or losses. But when you got two boats next to you, whether you're in a good mode or you're picking it well. And I guess, like, Clint, how hard is it to sort of it's a feeling really with the 16 to know if you're really rumbling?
Well, the thing is having another boat to gauge, like you say, is just so important. I mean, when you go two boating, you work harder when there's another boat. Whereas when you're all by yourself, you sort of go to sleep a little bit. Go, oh, it's okay. Oh, I won't worry about pulling up the centreboard. I won't worry about the bang. You tend to get a little bit lazy. Whereas when there's another boat, it's the competitive juices kick in, and you go, okay, I've got to go harder. I've got to work harder. I've got to do better.
And that constant gauge, knowing, we're gaining, we're losing, and what do I have to do to optimise?
What are they doing that's better than me?
100%. So it's also more fun having someone next to you to be able to battle with. But we're just going to make our way back down to Shark Island to pick up some of the rest of the fleet. 65 skiffs out here, so there's battles gone throughout. But awesome job by Domino's. They're doing pretty well. A Belmont boat, Marshall Day, Peter Nicholson, and William Beck aboard that boat. So,
and this is sort of their breeze, to be honest with you. Domino's do very, very well when they come to Manly in this sort of fluky breeze, don't they, Jimmy?
Yeah, they do. Like the one that normally does exceptionally well in fluky breeze is Alpha's Consulting, but I don't think they're racing today.
But you can see on that drone shot just how patchy it is. So, right in the middle of your screen, there's these beautiful dark patches. That's great winds. And then you've got this light patch under Steel Point. So that section there is where you saw everyone set the spinnakers and try and navigate through. So it's a lot easier to see from a drone than it is to see from the water. But, from that shot there, all these spinnakers are about to hook into really nice breeze. I expect the bow to go down and that speed to increase.
Just noticing as we're coming back through the fleet, Clint, your commentator's curse is strong.
Well, who do I put it on?
Tagara.
Oh, Tagara, yeah. Sorry, Tagara. The Shade Sail guys.
Shade Sail.
Yeah, I think they're still down at the Harbour Bridge.
There's Shebang.
They've stopped in for lunch. Oh, Shebang. Well, I haven't seen Fluid, so. Dave probably pulled into the squatty and had a beer.
Called into lunch with Rolf.
Yeah.
So there's
Here they are. Here's the Fluid. They're about to go around the top market, Shark Island now. Back to you were saying, Lisa, about the gusts on the water. I mean, how good would it be if you had an earplug in and someone was telling you where all the wind is? Now, does that happen on SailGP?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So the coaches, they sit on shore. They've got full comms to the boat, but they've got the helicopter view. They've got the umpire app. They've got everything. So it's like having a magician on shore telling you what's going to happen. But right now we got the 13 leading, Harkin just fighting against some of the 16s as well. So magnificent job by them. I think they might do well because I guess with a smaller boat you can probably hold the spinnaker a little bit longer maybe and get through this area. Oh, they're going up the front of the boat trying to fix something. The retrieval line caught around the bow. classic. Oh, now they're going to get rolled by 16. The heat right up to be able to clear their air. What 16 is that there?
So there was a 16.
Nozomi.
Right.
Nozomi. So Liza Kirby, Connor Hay and Hugh Skeen on that one.
Well, here's this good-looking boat here. White spinnaker. Look, good-looking roosters. Look at that Dave Burkett fella. And of course, you know, like Dave, myself, well, not so much Phil, but we're, you know, in our 50s now, and Dave had to, you know, last year get some operations on his arm, just all the loads on the boats, you know, affecting his grip strength. So unfortunately, there is a fair bit of load on these boats, and a fair bit of work needs to get done in order to stay fit, physical, in order to sail them.
Hence why I gave them up, Bozo, when I was turned 40. I went, that's it. It was too many
injuries to deal with.
Too many ailments, and when it takes you from Saturday through to Friday to sort of go, yep, I'm good to go again, that's when I knew it was time to probably give it away. And
too many Nurofen too.
Yeah, their sponsorship from Nurofen did run out, and yeah, this fell in my lap as sail media, and still get to be involved in the sailing each weekend, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's more than cool, Jimmy. It's great.
It's been another.
So, got our second place getter just here, Buckingham Marine in the 13 footers, just coming to the top mark. Just here they are on screen.
So Harkin have really cleared out now, a bit like.
A bit like Red Pumps Red,
A bit like Red Pumps.
They obviously just picking it really well, and I think just when you're out in front like that and sailing your own race, it is pretty hard with the 13s when you're sort of trailing in all the disturbed air of the 16s, but the 16s in front of you are great telltales, and I think that, you know, everyone called that Heidi was going to clear out in front on Harkin, so she's obviously sailing so well on this type of boat and doing really well, which is awesome to see. But yeah, Buckingham coming up in quite a bit of distance.
There's a bit
behind.
of that rich get richer.
Yeah, exactly, and it's nice when you're not in the heat of the battle with the pack, and to be able to take a little bit of time to make good decisions.
And back to that gauge, I mean, Harkin are now in the middle of the 16, so their gauge now is the 16s.
Yeah, if you can sail as
so
fast
they're
as
going
16,
faster.
you're pretty good. Set the standard. So yeah, Buckingham Marine choosing to set the climb as well. So there are going to be some tired crews as they get to shore for sure this afternoon.
And just to the right of them is the Australian sailing team, just going for a set there as well.
So the Australian sailing team, are they a group of sailors that have come from Middle Harbour then, have they?
The Australian side, well, Lisa's probably the best one to tell you all about it, actually.
The idea was that obviously it's so hard for our skiff sailors or any of our sailors to get really good racing experience in, say, a 49er or a 49er FX without travelling to Europe, which is such a big commitment. So I guess we know how good the 16s racing is. So with the pathway athletes being able to get access to a 16 and race against such top level every weekend. And then also the idea is that they can sail with different people. So normally we would have skiff sailors racing the Hamilton Island Australian Sailing Team boat, but they all just came back from their World Championship. So good old Zoe Thompson, she's a Paris 2024 Olympian in the Ilka, so only used to sailing by herself, sailing with two guys she's never sailed with before, learning the ropes of the 16 as well. I think she's doing pretty well to hang on here. And then you've got two young guys, Benedict McKay, and also Darcy Robbins. So they are just transitioning from the 29er to the 49er. So this is a really good upskilling them, trying to get access to really good racing at home is something that's really cool. And then also the idea is for the team to be able to get into the community and feel the heart of the club. So beautiful shot there.
Oh, we're just looking at the Sail Media 18.
No, mate, that's the Endies. So
what is it?
The story behind the logo was the late great Bob Killick that restarted up all the live streaming for the 18s.
Ah, cool.
He skippered that boat, and as an homage to him,
You took the logo.
That's where the logo came into it, as a bit of a thanks very much for putting the pathway out there for me to go on with. So
that's super cool.
Layers on layers. I love it, Jimmy.
Yep. And again, showing homage to the history.
Absolutely.
So just looking at these boats, it looks like the wind's shifted way more round to the east. They're sailing so much lower than the other boats that came down the harbour. So as we're getting later in the day, I'd say the breeze is dropping a little bit and maybe rotating around to the left.
I'm not going to make any predictions.
Okay. That's the thing with the comment.
So the concept of the Australian team then is that come from Mal, or who's sort of?
Yeah, so Malcolm Page obviously was an Olympian himself. He loved sailing the 16s. He's also come back on board. He was a board member of Australian Sailing, and now he's the new CEO. So I think he really brought it to the team as like such an opportunity for the pathway accesses to get access to racing, because it is so hard to get access to good racing. And me personally, that's I think racing any sort of boat at a high level, whether it's a 16 or a laser or a Hobie 16 or whatever it is, like sailing different types of boats with different types of people against different types of competition helps you get better. And I think that's the thing, is like there's so many different pathways that can get you to the Olympics if that's what you want to do. But even when you're trying to take it to the next level, exposure to different things and exposure to different challenges helps you become a more rounded sailor. And I think that was the concept.
Here we go. We got a 13-foot skiff leader here, doing very well in the middle of the 16.
Absolutely owning the 16s. To be honest, I think they're doing really well. They look quite powered up. The crew is quite swinging it down, and
and you can see Orlando moving back and forth. What's he trying to do there?
So there's a little bit of wave here. Not much, but I think it's about optimising the boat. So obviously being able to make sure that bow is just punching through the waves, but not going too deep. So you always have that nice waterline, but you're not ploughing too much into the waves, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
So
we must be getting to a point now down in the sound where the
I can see the red spinnaker
heading
down to Balmoral. So they are well out in front. Modern Concepts has also gone round, but they would be a third of a leg behind. A couple of minutes behind. So that's, we can see in the distance, there's the red spinnaker, so Red Pumps Red, Zoe Dransfield leading the fleet. They've had an awesome second half of the race. And then Modern Concepts is just to the right with the white spinnaker. You can't quite see them in shot yet, but as we pan across, they'll pop into view. You'll see just how much. There we are, so that's a massive lead that they've pulled out.
So you would think now that, unless there's gear breakage, and I don't want to give the commentators curse, but unless there's gear breakage, they should be fairly comfortable.
Oh, you'd be pretty comfortable with that lead. And I think it will be a little bit more consistent in Balmoral. I still think it's going to be tough. I think in these sort of like 8 to 11 knot range, it's just so hard to kind of get through the range and mow the boat well. But they've just gone to show how well they've done around the rest of the course, so nothing should slow them down now. And Modern Concepts, they'll be annoyed that they slipped the lead, but they've still got a massive lead in front of Botany Access, who's also just rounded the mark in third, and Buckingham Marine in fourth. So massive gap. But I mean, with Modern Concepts in second and the massive gap to third, they can gamble a little bit. So they could do leverage on Red Pumps if it does get fickle.
As we have dolphins in the harbour.
Dolphins left.
Just here to the left.
Just behind the yacht there, we got a pod of dolphins getting excited, wanting to get on camera as well.
I feel like a small kid. There's a bird. If
only I had dolphins around with Knowles racing you. Dolphins with dolphins would have distracted you. I would have got more titles. I worked it all out now.
But yeah, what I was saying is, so because Modern Concepts has such a good lead over third, they can play probably a more high risk game if they want to go for the win.
So when you say that, what are they going to do then to try and create something?
So they could maybe play a more high risk game. So they can basically, if they think there's something, rather than maybe go the same direction as red pumps. They can split from red pumps, red, try create leverage and find something. But, you know, the thing with sailing is unless you see it, it's not really worth going for it. But we know Modern Concepts, they've sailed this racecourse. We're sort of getting into more of a normal racecourse for this team. To be honest, though, looking at that lead, I don't think there's too much they can do. It's a full Hail Mary, if anything.
I've got a feeling red pumps aren't even looking backwards at the moment.
They're just having fun.
They're just going.
But yeah, Buckingham Marine's actually overtaken Botany Access, so they're back into third. And then Noakes has done...
Noakes and Bosca having a crack here.
Really well across the fleet. So it's starting to get more condensed from third through to sixth. But 1 and 2 are pretty legged out. But we're back in the sound now. The waves, you know, it's getting quite bumpy. I guess sailing in the swell downwind is pretty fun though, Clint.
Oh yeah, it's great. And the swell is great. You get some big swells coming through.
It's nice going downwind, not so much fun going upwind, I reckon.
Absolutely. I think we had a race in 2005, Jimmy. I think Big Wednesday we called it. Big Wednesday.
Well, Lisa was sailing 2005, weren't you?
Sailing
with Grant in 2005?
Probably, yeah.
The
I was steering. Yeah. We've had some big days out in the harbour for sure. The big southerlies. I sailed the NACRA 17s, a foiling cat, and I can tell you what, trying to navigate some of those big waves, I'd much prefer to be on a 16, I reckon.
and tell us what's that like? What's it like coming down a wave, foiling, going million miles an hour?
Yeah, the hardest thing is it's not self-leveling. So I'm running up and down the boat trying to keep the thing in the water because you need to keep the foils attached to the wave. So you go off the top of a wave and it's, you know, a 3 metre drop into a trough. So you're trying to manage the pitch of the boat. You're also flying a hull to try, you know, get rid of some lift. It's a full mission to be able to navigate the waves. But, you know, same on a 16 is trying to jibe at the right time down a swell line on a 16. You've got to get it right.
So that's what we thought. You were doing all the work on that boat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was part of the cruise union as well. So everyone that's had to pull the spinnaker up and down about 8 times today, I feel for you.
You might be able to go to Robbie Napper's foreign hand union.
Yeah, so it's a normal downwind run here. So obviously they're jibing their way down to Balmoral. They'll take a port hand turn, I think it is.
Starboard, isn't it? Is it a laid mark or are they going to the way?
Oh, no, it is starboard. Sorry, yeah, starboard. And they'll come back here and they'll do a port hand turn up through the heads again. So sort of a normal wind with leeward for them all.
So that's the old northeast mark in Balmoral they're going around?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that's where they head to, which we call it the Balmoral mark, but I think it's traditionally known as the Edwards mark or something like that.
According to the course, is the Rocky Point.
Rocky Point. There you go.
I've never heard that.
I knew it had.
Me neither.
I knew it had another name.
Yeah, awesome catch up by Noakes. They've sailed a really good race here. And yeah, it just looks glamour to be able to come down in this sort of conditions. There's probably just enough wind for this swell to be able to kind of overtake the waves.
Yeah. And these guys will be well in the handicap race as well.
So there's a bit of a battle now between them and Botany?
Yeah, but like this Noakes boat, like this will be a walk in the park for them here. Like run out tide nor'easters down at the river. It's a real stand-up, smack bang crash sort of day down there. These guys will just be going, these aren't waves, this is just like powerboat wash.
Yeah. So, whereas the guys from Belmont will be going,
they'll be knee knocking.
They'll be knee knocking.
It's all relative, right?
So this is going to be interesting, this sort of, you know, third through to seventh, where this ends up, because these guys are all pretty tight here.
It's a real battle, and I think one thing that you've got to be careful not to get caught out on it, is that, you know, whilst it's sort of like this easterly breeze that's shifted around from a sou'easter, is that it's not like a normal nor'east course, right, which is our traditional course. So your little nuances, you know, you hit that point and you get that shift. It's not quite that. It's more a gusty day, I would say. So they're going to try I guess, find the best breeze. It's not sort of like a soldier's course that we're all kind of used to. So it will be a real battle.
There's a little bit of boat speed, work here between Noakes and Botany Access, and you can see we were talking before about crew working the boat.
I guess on that, Clint, like how much are you? We got Red Pumps obviously coming back up winds here, but I guess Clint, with the 3 people on board, you're obviously trying to communicate. How much are you communicating about the mode? Like who's calling the mode? What are you talking to your crew about, or are you focusing on tactics as the skipper?
Look, as a skipper, the crew normally does it themselves. Like, I was lucky enough to sail with some brilliant sailors, and most of it happens themselves. What you do tend to find is you feel loads in the boat that you don't normally feel, and then you start to make a call. So, for instance, I'd feel the rudder load up, or if I was holding onto the main sheet, I'd feel the main sheet load up. I'd say, guys, you need to move forward, back, whatever, and try and release that load without actually almost releasing the sails so much. So you're trying to do all you can to keep maximum boat speed through the water. And as you would know, when you're going fast, there's almost no load.
Feels easy. Easy speed.
Easy.
That's
It's
what we like to call it. Easy speed. That's what you're looking for. But Red Pumps, Red doing a magnificent job with their sub in.
I had a bit of time on rough time. It's just over a minute lead.
A minute in front.
Okay. It looks a lot more, but it's yeah. So Bosca have done very well here.
They've done really well. So they went further under Dobroyd Headland. So that's a good indicator that's where the good breeze is. But looking up the course, it does look pretty nice across the whole course. We do know when we were out here before, that right-hand side, that southern side, was paying, but Bosca went more to that northern side. So it'll be interesting to see if they head back there and capitalise on where the gains were made downwind. There's also a little bit more tide probably now coming in.
A little bit more tide, definitely.
And we know it loves to rip around Middlehead, so maybe they'll try to stay a little bit away from that. But looks like, Red Pumps is going to go get as close to Grotto and get that nice little lift up the shoreline there.
Yeah, out of the tide. And generally speaking, they're going towards Manly. That's a win.
Yeah, exactly. They're on the home stretch, so they're going to go back up to that red mark in the middle of the Sound, and then it's a left-hand turn into Manly Cove, which will probably just be sort of like a reach. I don't know whether we'll see them set the kite again, but the breeze is slowly shifting round to the left, so I don't imagine that we would see them setting a kite. But Modern Concepts construction is coming upwind now. Whether they've got upwind speed, I guess that's the thing. Like, you just got to try get every single inch out of the boat possible. But
so if you were on Modern now, would you be thinking about the leader, or would you start to be thinking about who's behind you?
I think they got a big enough lead from third right now that I would be trying to work out how I'm going to overtake these guys. I think you're always keeping one eye on the guys behind you, but right now, knowing Chris Williams, he'll be fighting pretty hard.
He's like Slingsby. He doesn't want to come second.
No, they're going to hate that I say this, but the redheads don't want to come second.
I wasn't going to mention the mist either, Lisa.
No miss today. Slingers will be happy. Yeah, I think it's awesome to see, Zoe doing so well. She's had a great sort of last 12 months on the skiffs. And
well, last weekend she sailed phenomenally, and she was over at the start.
Yeah, she got black flag.
She
did.
Yeah,
it was so disappointing because she did sail a great race.
She sailed a fabulous race.
And then the week before, won the first day of the club championship on Big Rig with Little Spinnaker.
Oh,
so,
cool! Yeah.
She's doing amazing things.
She's doing it all.
Super talented, and she also came through the 13s, right? So she's transitioned so well to 16s. Here we go, rolling into attack, protecting this left-hand side. I think not getting too close to Middlehead is a good call.
Oh no!
Oh We said
Just to the left.
We
Shot.
we said earlier.
He did bail out. He's bailed out.
We did say earlier though, there's a few people out here that might not know the rules, and I tell you what, and we said red pumps could only do wrong if something bad happened.
Just giving them a wave.
Yeah.
They should be able to write that pretty well, actually. So that was a nice little 360 by the motorboat.
So on the Shippo scale, how do you reckon he'd rate the kumquat there, Lisa?
That was a good avoidance by that motorboat, but yeah. You'd be holding your breath for a second on red pumps there.
Absolutely. That's why I was like, oh no, I couldn't even finish my sentence.
What do we got? Shade here coming down.
Yes.
Shade to order. Tom Burton.
Shade to order going very, very well at Belmont
Scott
this
Beebe
year.
and Joel Skeleton.
But, yeah, maybe not their day today.
So Eric Storage, they're doing pretty well out here for them.
They should, they should know this. They're a Middle Harbour boat. Tinny, I think the sponsor's out here too.
Yeah, he's out here on the Mutiny, which is the Middle Harbour start boat, or Tinny's boat, but
Yeah, once again, it's getting quite crowded. We obviously saw that motorboat, but as we get close to Balmoral, everyone's heading back in after their day on the harbour, so a little bit of traffic to navigate, but not as bad as usual, I'd say. Not considering what they've just dealt with, but I think Modern Concepts Construction has had actually a really nice upwind. I'd say they've actually closed the gap a little bit. Maybe they've got a little bit more boat speed coming up here. I mean, it's still a big gap, but I think they've closed it compared to the downwind.
Yeah, certainly.
They're not going to overtake them from here, but
they might make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly, having the same guys sailing together makes a big difference.
So I think it's
the two crew.
Two crew for sure, getting the moding, and I think Spencer McKay is helming. I spoke to him this morning. He's in the middle of his HSC, but Mum let him come sailing for the weekend. So thanks, Mum.
And I think that the choice of skipper these days is actually a lot of the crews are looking for younger, lighter, or dare I say, lighter skippers.
Yeah, put a bit more weight on the wire.
Yeah.
So just looking up to North Head at the moment, about that midfield, skiffs coming down in beautiful breeze. Amazing drone shot as well. You can see nice little swell lines rolling through the harbour. Nothing big, but really nice to ride on the downwinds.
That's incredible shots.
You can still see how patchy it is, though, like with the dark spots and the light spots. So I think there's still a lot of gains to be made if you do pick some good breeze. But with obviously Tom Slingsby on red pumps red, he can read the breeze pretty well, as can so many of the sailors throughout the fleet.
So I think we're now. Of course, the 16s have to run a longer course than the 13s, but I think the 13s now, are starting to look like they're going for the finish.
Yeah. So Harkin, they've rounded that red mark to port, and they're actually already heading in to Manly Cove. So they're crossing quarantine. So we're just trying to catch up with them. They did a little shortcut. There they are.
Here we go. Just gone for a spinnaker, going for the finishing line.
So they'll be heading to the start boat, which is just a little bit towards Fairlight, not quite right in front of the skiff club, but that'll be a nice little spinnaker run for them. They'll probably have to end up dropping and coming back, but they've got such an incredible lead on everyone else, and done so well to actually overtake half the 16-foot skiff fleet as well, and they'll be back packed up in the club having a good schnitty before anybody else.
It's always nice to be first back.
And having a good schnitty. That's the important part.
Oh, that's the secret, is it?
Mate, can't go past a good snitty.
Yeah.
So Harkin have set dropped. Where are Buckingham?
Little grey spinnaker is what you'd be looking for back there, but I don't think they're
I don't think they've rounded yet.
So Harkin have got a massive lead, basically.
There we go. We've got the drone,
daylight second.
The drone's going to have a bit of a look for you, Clint.
Isn't that amazing? Guys, you just do such a great job with the footage here. It's incredible. And unlike Bathurst, where you can have cameras on the track and everywhere you go, you can't do that, Jimmy. You've got to... How do you do it? How do you bring this coverage?
Duck and weave, mate, is how we do it. It's all a bit of magic, and there's a little bit to it, and it's quite intricate on how it all gets out there onto the different platforms and so forth like that. You know, like we do work for the people that bring you Bathurst as well, but for the City to Hobart race, and there's other bits and pieces that we do. But yeah, like it's very hard. Like, you know, we're not sitting in an OB truck. This is our OB truck out on the harbour. That's an outside broadcast truck for those at home. But you know, the commentators are here right in the middle of it all. You know, it's pretty cool. It's cool little office to have.
And what have you got going here? You've got, you know, there's obviously, you've got 2 boats out today. You've got cameras. Where are the cameras? What's happening?
Cameras are rooftop mounted, 360-degree gyro stabilising cameras. We've got drones that operate off the back of the boat here. Yeah, so, you know, like, there's a lot going on. We've got the commentators' camera that, you know, at least are coming along we wouldn't use today because it's not not for our 2 bullfeds, but bring Lisa into it. It's always a joy.
Yeah. As we said, she raised the IQ seriously by coming onto the boat. Yeah.
IQ, looks, you know, everything. It's just gone skyrocketing. So, and then we have a system that talks to the other boat to get the camera feed back from there to here. So, you know, like, unlike, as you say, Bathurst, where they run cables everywhere, we're relying on satellites and bits and pieces to make this all come together.
And trying to work around Mother Nature.
Trying to work around Mother Nature. And, you know, certain parts of the harbour, you know, we're not allowed, well, we don't go because we drop signal strength there quite heavily. So it's very hard to, in your head, to process what's going on when and where, and trying to make sure you're in the right spot. But
and navigate Sydney Harbour traffic while you're doing it all.
Yeah.
Safer hands.
Yeah. And behind you here, you've got basically the GM.
Well, yeah, we've got Chits obviously behind us. Sits in front of the monitor. He selects which shot that the viewers are going to see. He's listening to the audio. He's loading all the graphics in. Everything else. He's
he's in our ear. He's in our ear saying, "Move on."
Henry the octopus behind us, Clint. So he's the one that brings the whole show together at the end of the day. But back here to Harkin, going for another set.
Here they go.
It's a pretty tough run to the finish here, which could mean that the rest of the fleet gets quite interesting. It's lighter here. It's gone round to the east northeast. I think they just set the spinnaker to try get through this soft spot, and being so far ahead, they can probably hold it. But it's so hard when it's like this. I always say that the extremes are always the hardest, and to be able to get through this light breeze, they'll probably end up sailing further distance going down. But it's so light that they can hold the spinnaker at quite a nice angle to the finish. But I think it could get interesting in Manly Cove a bit later.
Oh, absolutely. It'll certainly get interesting at the club in about 2 hours' time.
But yeah, it's such incredible work by this young team. I know that Heidi was sailing with somebody else, and Orlando's jumped back on board, so they've got the dream team back together and really shown how good they sail together. So you can see full swing there, coming into the finish, a little bit overpowered, but they should be able to make this a little bit lighter breeze. We'll get them there, so they should get the horn across the line. And yeah, awesome work.
And the prize money for the 13s is quite substantial.
I believe it is, yeah. On a handicap, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the way that they've tried to promote this race in particular, Clint, is the more prize money on handicap to attract more people and more teams to this race.
And handicap is obviously corrected time, so based on your
bang.
There we go.
There we go.
Harkin.
Congratulations.
Heidi and Orlando winning the 13-foot skiff division of the Port Jackson Championship. So well done to them. Awesome job. And yeah, as I was just mentioning, handicap is corrected time. So you kind of know how many minutes you need to beat another boat by. So within the race, there's so many battles, but every second, every minute counts throughout the race. So it's kind of cool because you kind of have an idea of where you're coming, but you don't quite know until you get back to the club and you see how everyone else has gone.
And it gives everyone a chance. Everyone has a chance. Even if you're not a scratch boat, you have a chance to win. You know, which is fabulous. You know, it's a great way of doing it. Much like other sports, golf. Oh, here we go. We've been given it. You read that. I can't read it.
All right, so we have the Port Jackson prize money. So for the 13-foot skiffs on scratch is $250. In a handicap, it's $800. So
Wow.
as you were saying, it's more skewed. Second, let's go scratch is $200, $150, $175, and then handicap goes all the way down to 10. So $800, $600, $500, $450, $400, $350. So also for the 13s, we've got Buckingham Marine coming, so they'll be collecting second prize on scratch. And then if we look over to the 16-foot skiff prize money, on scratch you get $500, but handicap is $2,500, and that goes all the way down to 10. So actually, no, it pays out to 50th in the 16-foot skiffs.
Wow.
And pays out to 25th in the 13. So awesome to be able to, put that money back into the sailors. Buckingham Marine, so not too far behind. So I'm not sure what everyone's handicap is on 13, but quite a big gap to the next one. So
They've had a great race, the Buckingham.
really good. You can see that we're not on them right now, but they're bending their knees and navigating this swell. They've got really nice breeze as well. It looks like we might have a retirement up there.
It's Avalina.
Yeah. That's Angus Wheatley, Blake Wilson, and Lachlan Wheatley. So they've look like they're pulling out.
So one of the crew, I believe, on that boat flies in from Brisbane each.
Wow.
To sail.
Wow, that's commitment.
Just love sailing at Manly. There you
How
got
much
it.
it means to people.
Yeah.
Like, you got to agree though, Lisa. Every time you fly into Sydney, it's the most beautiful spot, right?
Oh, 100%. I spend half the year away, but every time I come home, it's the best place on earth. So
Yeah.
happy to be here.
Maybe he just comes down for the schnitzel.
So just looking, I think that we're probably going to have red pumps, red hitting the top shortly. It looks like, I'm just looking back to see if I can see it, but we're probably about a couple of minutes out, and then they'll be doing the left-hand turn, heading this way. But
yeah, they're just under the crane there on South Head, Lisa, as you're looking at the window.
Yep. Got them. So it actually looks like the fleet's condensed a little bit.
With Buckingham probably 100, 150 metres from a finish.
Beautiful.
Which is one of the challenges now, is that we've got boats, a long, long way apart, and we're trying to give you coverage of both places. So we're...
It's tough, and also the whole fleet was super spread out.
Super spread out.
Hard to see everyone, but as they round these last marks and head towards the finish, we'll hopefully pick a few more up. But red pumps red there, they've just tacked over onto starboard. They'll probably be on lay for that top mark now, left-hand turn, and then they've got to navigate into Manly Cove. It looks like not having a spinnaker at the beginning and setting it at the end, but that's been a tough call throughout the whole race. So once again, they're probably kite up, kite down to get to the finish. But they look really comfortable in the lead there. I think Modern Concepts has probably actually lost a fair bit through that upwind leg, but they still look like they're in second.
So they're probably looking at
protecting
lead.
second now.
Yeah.
And we've got another 13 coming up when they're in third. So
you have a racetrack like a marathon, and there's boats basically all over the harbour. So it's quite challenging, I can imagine, to bring coverage from right across the harbour.
It is, mate.
You don't have enough drones.
It's not enough. There's Modern Concept Constructions and the Buckingham Queen's in the back of the shot there with the white there, just near the lighthouse.
It's been a tough course. Obviously, this course is probably designed for a beautiful nor'easter, but to have a east, south, east, northeasterly throughout the race has been a real challenge, which is probably why it's become so spread out. Normally, I guess if it's a little bit more consistent, it would be a little bit more simple for everyone, but the losses were super painful and the gains were massive. So,
and as you said on the first work, they don't get to do anything twice.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to learn from your mistakes.
So Red Pumps, they're coming across. They've got, a massive lead. But it looks like, it looks a bit confusing because we still have other 16s that are approaching that mark, but they've still got to go down into Balmoral and come all the way back up to this mark. So incredible amount of distance that they've pulled out across the entire fleet. So
and they're the sort of boats that they're maybe getting lappy who will be thinking about the handicap.
100%. Which is cool. There's always so many races within the race. We've got 13. We're just picking up here off the...
Number 58.
Number 58 is Red Pumps Manly, which is Gemma Hopkins and Harvey Windust. So they're coming in on third. So bit of distance between them, but awesome job by them. And then behind them, we've got the Kitchen Maker, Taylor Lees and Oliver Barrett.
And they're going for a
Going for the Spinnaker. Good on you.
So, yeah, a bit of a tight battle here because we've got third, fourth and fifth. Pretty close. There's a yellow Spinnaker.
I'm in the background of that shot there, the 13.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get really tight with the 13s.
And this yellow Spinnaker that we're going to go past, I'd have it a guess potentially, is it number 41? So
number 41 is Botany Scaffold, Levi Windust and Cooper. Oh, 541.
541.
I've got confused with that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Well, it could be Botany Access or Botany Scaffold, so take your pick.
Botany Access needs to lift their game when it comes to sign writing on that sub.
Well, I think it was us having a go at you after week one in the club championship.
That's
league. Some signage has appeared on the fluid building.
I'm going to rectify that now.
Oh, here we go. We've got our leader of the Port Jackson Championship, Red Pumps Red. We've got Zoe Dransfield on the helm. You got Tom Slingsby on the sheet, and we've got Jamie Stoddart out of the bow, earning his money today, that's for sure.
He's definitely earning his money today. Yeah. And feeling the pressure of having Tom beside you.
No pressure. Just a SailGP champion, Olympic gold medalist, Moth World champion, name a few.
Every time he goes for a Spinnaker set, he hears the click of the stopwatch starting behind him.
What's his tennis career though, Lisa? Because he had the choice, remember?
Yeah, he had to pick between tennis and sailing. He was good at both, but I think he'd probably be pretty happy that he chose sailing. But I think, the cool thing about Tom is he just loves sailing. He loves representing Australia as well. I forgot to mention that he also won an America's Cup. So, he's done a few good things.
He's all right.
And he's almost about to win the Port Jackson Championship. He's just got to hold it together. Yeah. No pressure, Tom.
This is the most prestigious in all his wins, right, Lisa?
Yeah.
How cool is that to be able to do all those things and jump on board and be part of, just the community. I think that's the coolest thing about the Skiff Club and the 16s is pretty cool community, and racing is still super intense that you want to be part of it.
And Tom, much like yourself, Lisa, have got a lot of time for all the kids and that. They come up to you and I sit back and see it at all different events that I work with you, particularly, and obviously with Tom. And yeah, it's incredible just how much time that they give to the young kids. It's just great to see that, none of, especially for Tom's long-winded wind sheet of everything. None of it's gone to his head, unlike some other people around the world that definitely it soaked in a little bit too deep for them. Yeah,
Tom also, he just is so passionate about the sport, and when I just...
Oh, hang on.
We spoke too soon. We said that anything can happen, but, big lull there, little bit of dragging in the water. Just getting a little bit too hot from all those Spinnaker sets, but they're back up and ripping now, but we've got to be careful. It's not over till it's over. But yeah, we just met a young kid on the shore there, and he said that he turned on KO and started watching the SailGP, and he told his parents he wanted to learn to sail, and he loves watching the Aussies race in SailGP. And I said, oh, well, guess who's sailing out here today? And so he's out there in the open Bic, and he's sailing next to Tom Slingsby, and he was beaming. So really cool to meet him earlier, and I think he'll probably try and run up and meet Tom a bit later. But Red Pumps, they've just gone bow down, big shift as they get into Manly. It's more northeast, so they'll probably try and hold the kite a little bit longer, then drop it, and then maybe have to set it again, I'd say.
And that little 13 there in front of them, Texco, they're a brand new sponsor. They came on board for the last club championship last year as a sponsor, and they've stuck with us, so it's good to see.
What did Texaco do you know?
Oh, we're not starting this game again.
Yes, we are. Yeah, come on.
What do you think about that? Angus Griffin and Ewan Darlow are on that 13.
Shits has checked out. Thanks, Cliff. Texco.
Texco.
Yeah.
There you go, Texco.
Well, you know what red pumps do.
Concrete pumping.
That's it. There you go, Jimmy. 50% again.
There you go. And red concrete, I reckon, it's the concrete that comes out of it.
Do you think they're going to have to go for the drop here, or you think they'll hold it all the way into the point?
I think you'd hold it all the way, or as close as you can to that reef beach point there, just to give you a bit of an angle to get back up to the boat, rather than in that sort of
the doldrums.
The doldrums there off the skiff club side, and here they go.
Here we go. They go for the drop. Modern Concept Constructions is coming down. They are quite far behind, but you know this timing of the spinnaker could be everything. But looks like they're the similar wind direction as Red Pump, so they'll probably have to bring it all the way down as well and drop at the same point. So, you know, Red Pumps will be looking looking ahead at the moment. I don't think they can do much to protect. It's basically a straight run in, so not much tactics at play. It's all about just not hitting the water in the lulls, as we saw.
Just staying in the breeze. And they're in it now. They've dropped at a perfect time. They've got good pressure. It's as though they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's we've actually been quite lucky with the breeze that it's held throughout the whole race. It's obviously shifted. They've had to do probably a little bit more upwind than they would have liked, but.
Who have we got just about from the 13-foot skiffs about to cross the finishing line?
You got the kitchen maker who's up there.
Were they running fourth, was it? So third and fourth, maybe about to finish?
Yep, third and fourth, which was at 58 or whatever.
54.
54.
41.
No, you're just yelling numbers at me. 5441, but that was the one that we weren't sure. So, but pretty tight amongst the 13s there. You can see how gusty it is on the screen there as they try do the last couple of 100 metres of the
your way across the line.
Yeah, exactly. You made it all this way.
Yeah.
Light.
Very happy with their second, that's for sure. Or third, sorry.
Third. Buckingham's was second.
Yep, but very excited.
It's so light and fickle in here. It's tough, but Red Pump's red looking super strong there. Modern Concepts went all the way to pretty much the same drop point, so they're safely in second. But third place in the 16s has gained quite a lot. It'll be a little bit of a battle, but looks like it's a bit more of a procession here as long as you can navigate through these lulls. So we're right on Red Pumps now. Final stretch, final couple of 100 metres to go. Can see how much they're having to move their body weight to navigate through the changing winds right up here in Manly Cove. And Tom working hard on that sheet.
Yeah.
Good to see him working so hard. Usually he just holds a wheel.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Smooth as fast. There we go. We'll get in real close here and see this finish.
Yeah, amazing job.
Fabulous race.
Good little smile there.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah. Tom's happy. Got it first.
Zoe's stoked as well, as she should be.
As she should be.
There we go. Your 2025 Port Jackson champions, Red Pumps Red. Zoe Dransfield, take the win.
What do you reckon the stat would be, Lisa, on female winner in the 13s and female winner in the 16s in the Port Jackson Championship
Oh,
have ever
well,
happened
well,
before.
Sarah Lee won last year in the 16s.
Did
So
Heidi win the 13s?
I'm not sure.
That's the one we've got to find out.
That'd be
That'd
cool.
be pretty cool either which way.
Women have the stamina. That's what I'm hearing.
That's it.
All right, here we go. We're picking up Modern Concept. So they were leading the race until we got all the way back down the harbour to Shark Island upwind. So they'll be pretty awesome effort to get second, but they'll be
slightly disappointed.
a little bit disappointed seeing as, whenever you're in the lead.
Yeah.
But in saying that, behind them, we've got a Noakes, I think it is, incredibly, with the spinnaker
There
up.
we go. This is getting close.
Bosca
Yeah.
build.
Bosca and Buckingham.
Bosca, sorry.
This is going to be very, very close.
So really tight race here, and obviously, so Modern Concepts is pretty clear ahead, but we've got the race for third and fourth. Bosca, they've held the spinnaker for longer, but they're just dropping it now, and in the drop, they've lost quite a little bit of distance, but it really is going to be about navigating this last little section. I think Bosca is a pretty clear. They won't have to tack for the finish. I think Buckingham, as the wind is sort of rotating, they look like they're pretty safe to make the finish as well. So it really is going to be about navigating this really tricky patch of water in terms of the lulls. You can see that they're all in the boat at the moment. And I find this stuff is quite frustrating, Clint, because you're like willing the boat to go forward, but you just
doesn't.
Yeah, slow and smooth as fast, but all you want to do is go faster.
And we're talking about transitions now, there'll be like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. You think you've got them. Bosca made a big game on Buckingham's. Now Buckingham's are shooting away.
And Modern Concept Construction, there they go. They've crossed the finish line in second, so well done to them. But yeah, as we can see, Bosca right now, absolutely, the wind has just evaporated on them. And Buckingham Marine, they've got people on the wire about, they were only 50 metres apart. And that just goes to show how tough it has gone until to the very end. But as you're saying, Clint, Bosca could now get a puff and catch up. So
catch right up to them, yeah.
You got to be patient, but
I think Buckingham's will probably try their best to get some height and shut the door, whatever happens.
I think they've pretty much got it here now that they're on the same line. Before they were separated laterally, whereas now they've been able to punch up in front and take the same line. So it'd be I don't think they'll be able to catch. So it looks like Buckingham Marine, they were doing well from the very beginning, and they lost a little bit halfway through the race, but they managed to claw it back and get back into third. So awesome job by the guys on that boat. That's Ruffy, Simon and Matt.
So Buckingham's had a good day. Second in the 13s and third in the 16s.
Yeah.
Great day, Buckingham Marine.
There we go, across the line in third.
And here's an epic battle between Fluid and Cadence and Co. Come on, Fluid.
Sail Media.
And Sail Media.
And Sail Media turns. I like it a lot.
Oh, well, I'll have to go to Cadence and Co. just for balance in this
I'm
competition.
just going to take this mic off for a second. I just want to talk to the girls.
Hate to say it, Cliff, but Fluid's in a tough position there.
Yeah, they are, yes.
Sail Media's punching out. What an awesome race, though, around the harbour. It's been a pretty long race. It's been going for almost just over 2 hours now.
2 hours, and they've been all around the harbour, and yet we've got a group of 13s that are like,
throw a blanket over
5
them,
or 6, we can throw a blanket over them.
And then the next
16, I think Botany Access. Is that Botany Access?
Botany Access, yes.
And there's
Noakes.
So there's a tight battle going on between them. It looks like Botany Access will punch out in front, and that will be for 5th place.
And in the 13s, just had Modern Concept Construction 13 finish. Mm-hmm. Now we've got Red Pumps from Belmont finishing.
Okay.
Then
And
Sail
some media have come up trumped.
Got the Chockies. And
Looks
still
like
the battle continues between Cadence and Co and Fluid. Is this going to go on all year, Clint?
Oh, I could do. Oh, well, worthy winners there.
It's all... So Botany Access coming in here now.
And we're right with Noakes. The two, as we suspect, the handicap, probably having a good crack at handicap.
It is a big money fight for the handicap here. But, yeah, Botany Access just having that, windward advantage. They're just getting that breeze a little bit earlier than Noakes is. And it's also a little bit more favoured towards the boat end. So they'll cross the finish line before Noakes. But Dominoes as well must have had a really nice run down into Balmoral and up, because they're going to come in. I think Botany Access will be in 5th, Noakes will be in 6th, and Dominoes in 7th.
Just got a message through from George Sadlick, which is obviously Orlando's dad. Awesome, blah, blah, blah. But good work for the Harkin 2 years in a row. So there you go.
There we go.
Congratulations, Harkin.
Female skippers 2 years in a row for 13th and 16th.
Everyone else give up.
Yeah.
This is a female
Women can
race.
sail. Yeah. Watch out.
Yeah. Well,
it is awesome.
to inspire people to, sail better, go harder.
Absolutely.
They're the yardstick. You got to have a yardstick for someone to aim at.
But I think what you were saying in the beginning, it's so awesome to see so many more women in the 13s and the 16s, but then for them also to be doing really well is really encouraging, for some of the girls that might be coming up through the juniors to see that. And I think that's the really special thing about sailing is women and men can sail together against each other on an equal playing field. And I think that they're just going to show, all the women that have won today, that it's possible, and it encourages more to keep going, keep trying, because you can get to the top.
You can do it, yeah, absolutely.
Here we go.
Swell racing and geochemical assessments just crossing the finish line.
And to that point, Lisa, I think the only thing that really holds people back is having that encouragement and that confidence. Give them the confidence, they will go on to do great things.
100%.
Yeah.
Here comes the boys that went to Bathurst last week.
Hey,
so
Josh was wearing a full suit.
Yeah, he gets right into it, Joshy. So don't worry about Josh. These guys will celebrate no matter what.
Yeah. Michael Kerner, Josh Ponton, and James Luira Fernandez.
Yeah, every day on the water is a celebration.
Those guys party, doesn't matter where they come, they have a good time.
So they're 8th?
No, I think they're 11th.
They're 11th, are they?
Yeah,
okay, I've missed a few.
Yeah, I think Dominoes were in 7th, Swell, or maybe...
Geochemicals?
Or maybe they're 10th, Sutek.
Right.
Yep.
And then
So that'll wrap up the 10.
Top 10 are through. Yeah, so on the Hamilton Island boat there, cheering on the fleet, checking out 16-foot skiff racing. A couple of the team members on there as well with taking the afternoon off training. Coming in now, though.
Is this...
There we go, we've got the wave, that's Gray Morris. I can see Casey, Elise, giving us the wave. Great to see you out here. Congratulations to Gray Morris. He's nominated for Young World Sailor of the Year. So everyone get online and vote for Gray. All right, here we go. A tight battle behind us between Shade and Imagine. Looks like they're just going to overtake them at the last run. So Nathan Wilmot won't be happy with that one. It's getting...
So it just shows you, it's a tough day. Arguably 2 of the top boats at each of the clubs, and they're coming in 12th, 13th.
And IME as well.
And IME as well. Australian champion.
So shade to order is Tom Burden, Scott Beebe and Joel Skelton, and then we got a couple of gold medalists fighting against each other. So Tom got that one on Nathan. And Joel, what an awesome young sailor coming up through the ranks. He's been doing so well, but excited to see where he goes next.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Canberra Airport. Will we talk about them? TTR coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
A little too late. TTR, that's Phil Bauer, Ryan Lindsay and Richard Nardone. And Canberra Airport, we've got Archie Cropley, Max Paul and Tom Kunich.
And TTR Civil, correct me if I'm wrong, they came up from Wollongong, Illawarra, to now at St George.
St George.
So Illawarra, they don't sail the skiffs anymore, unfortunately, Clint. Well, there's one 16 sails there, Nitro, but all the rest of the guys from Illawarra decided to just come up the freeway. It's only a short trip and join the fleet at St George, and St George has actually increased in numbers, believe it or not, in both 16s and 13-foot skiffs down there. So it's great to see that the class itself is slowly but surely on the building again.
Yep.
So we just had Tribeca across the line. So that's Ben Bradley, Cameron McDonald and Rory Cox. And just about to cross now, we've got Rattling Communications. So a Belmont boat, Michael Babbage, Michael Brown and Jordan Macon. Be happy to be done, I reckon.
Absolutely.
And Eric Storage, so Middle Harbour boat coming across the line now. We've featured them a bit through this race. They've been popping up. So Scott Cotton, Nathan Edwards and Alex Leslie. And then there's quite a significant gap until the next boat. So maybe this is where the Manly ferry split through the fleet earlier in the race.
Could have done, yes.
Very much so, could have done. But, well, I think what we might do is we might wrap up proceedings here now. I think both Lisa and Clint, you've well and truly
We're worn
knocked
out.
it out of the park.
I haven't got the stamina.
Get you guys, get you a snitty. But thanks so much for coming and joining the Sail Media crew, Lisa and Clint, for this unbelievable race. What a day to see out there on the harbour, and all unfolded, and it's a pretty spectacular thing to see. Again, 2 female skippers win this championship.
Absolutely.
But thank you, everyone, and this has been a Sail Media production for the Manly 16-foot Skiff Sailing Club.
Are your kids ready to sail? Or are they already racing? Come try junior sailing at Manly 16-foot Skiff Sailing Club and St George Sailing Club. We've got free coaching, heaps of support and a crew that makes learning fun, whether you're brand new to sailing or already racing. It's all about confidence, mateship and making the most of your weekends. Interested? Email sail@manlyskiff.com.au and come and join the fun.